Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show. The show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 111 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show for May 2026. My name is Jonathan Leung. I'm the producer, director, and editor here at the Arcade Repair Tips video series. And joining me today, as always, is Mr. Arcade Repair Tips himself, Tim Peterson. Tim, how's it going?
It's going.
Man, we have literally, usually we have a little bit more communication during the month, but I feel like this month has been so busy for both of us, just not a whole lot.
No, not much. I didn't have much downtime. Well, I say that I had last weekend off, which I worked around the house, was the first weekend I've had off in 2 months.
Oh my goodness!
So weekend time, I've been taking Sundays off, but that's it.
Yeah. Golly. So we have been busy. Hopefully you guys have been busy too, but not too busy. And Tim, I posted the meme about project games, and some of the people out there actually showed us their list, which I thought was really great. So if you go on our Facebook page, you can see what some of the project games people have to work on. I think the meme was, when you have so many project games, you get tired just thinking about working on all of them. And I think we've all been there. But anyway, guys, we're so glad that you're here tonight for episode 111. We do want to remind you that you can interact with us during the show by leaving your comments, questions, and other things in the live chat. And Tim, we already have a couple in there. We got Encore MPW is here. We've got Arcade Survival is here, Tim. Encore's Arcade is here. And Current Photograph says, aloha from my vacation in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
What dedication to be here on your vacation.
It's like 2 in the afternoon or something
exactly.
there.
What is
what
Hawaii
time is it there?
right now? That
it's 5:37 Central Time here, or 5:38.
Yeah, 5:38 Central Time. What is it in Hawaii, Tim? I could ask Alexa, but I'd rather hear it from Current Photograph.
Yeah, I bet it's just after 1 or 2 o'clock or something in the afternoon. Perfect. And what a great, I guess he's probably sitting there drinking a pina colada and sitting on the beach.
On Mai Tai or something, right? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I understand.
Have you ever been to Hawaii?
I have not. It is on my bucket list.
Yeah.
So, but if you've been to Hawaii, let us know what you thought of it. I have not been there, though, myself.
I got one close to going and to do some training one time. Mm-hmm. And I thought this will be the best trip ever, I'll be glad to go and train. I don't know that I could work there and live there, but to visit would be awesome, and I didn't get to go.
Now, I noticed you're wearing a Star Wars shirt, and it was May the 4th, Tim, so I was thinking May the 4th be with you.
That's kind of what I was thinking this time, too.
Yeah, so obviously that passed between this show and the last live show, but we've been busy. Like you said, you've not had any weekends off. Have you been traveling a lot, Tim? What's been going on?
Yeah, we're down an auditor in Arkansas. We got people out. They're just stuff that's come up, or maybe pregnancies or whatever. So I will be back in Northwest Arkansas in 2 weeks. Then I will be heading to Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, Alabama in June, and then I'll turn around, come home for a little bit, and then turn back around and go to Tallahassee for a week.
Golly, so if you're anywhere in the southeastern part of the United States, you're probably
somewhere around,
Central East,
South,
Central Southeast part of the United States. Tim's probably there.
Yeah.
So there you go. We're going to have to start doing like a where in the world is Tim?
Right.
Kind of map, I think, just with all the traveling he's doing.
It's been a busy time.
Absolutely, Tim. And summer's coming up now. My kids are getting ready to get out of school. They are counting down days. My daughter is actually already out, but my son is counting down the days. They're excited. So we've got all of that stuff going on. Somebody called this time May-cember for people with kids. That's about right. So we've got a lot of end-of-year stuff. We got programs. And actually, my son took a field trip today to the planetarium, Tim, which is really cool. So, just getting all that end-of-year stuff in for the school kids is usually a little busy for us as well. But, Tim, enough about that. We're here to talk about arcade repair stuff.
Right.
And we got a nice selection of questions for this month, Tim. I'm going to go back over to the live chat, though, before we continue on. We have one here from Nate Berg, Tim. It says, how do you wire up a marquee LED to a golden tee? There is not much information. Someone gave me the Everbright LED. Does it plug in somewhere into the PCB, Tim? So how do you wire up a marquee LED light?
Well, I'm assuming that it has a non-LED light up there, some form or fashion.
Sure, or something.
Right. So it won't go all the way to the PCB. I mean, you could do it that way, but that'd be a lot of trouble. What I would look for is what is the current wiring up there. Yeah. And it's probably, if it's a fluorescent bulb, it's probably 120 volts.
Yes.
And so then you could get an LED that either step that down or takes or will do 120 volts. Most of them have a little converter, and I don't guess we've ever shot a video on that, but it's we have
done a video on
I
installing
know
a
we've done
marquee
it
light.
plenty of times.
Yeah, so we have done a video on installing an LED marquee light.
Okay,
which is
well,
probably
that's
what
what
you're
you
looking
need to
for,
watch.
right? Exactly. Like Tim mentioned, it depends on what voltage your LED takes as its input. So all of them, I think.
And don't just try to plug it up, because it could very well damage it and do damage to your game. Because what you probably have is a 12, maybe a 24 volt LED, and you've got 120 coming up there. So you got to have a little power brick or something. If you watch a video, you'll see how we actually kind of did that and took it down and used that power brick. I did it not too long ago. That's what I was trying to remember. I helped Mike on a game, and that's what we did. We just bought one that plugged into the wall, and we cut the end that plugs in and wired it into our AC. It was that simple.
That's what we do in the video too.
Yeah.
So if you watch that, now again, that's if your LED, that's if your marquee light LED bar takes 120 volts AC. Some of them do take DC voltage, in which case you'd want to wire it up to your power supply, your actual switching power supply in your game.
Right.
So if it takes like a 12 volt or a 5 volt, you'd want to wire those directly into your power supply at those locations. But the vast majority of them, especially if they plug into the wall, are going to be 120 volt.
Well, we had
AC.
His was 12 volt, but it had the power brick with it, kind of like you would see like a laptop charger.
Yeah. So
what we did was
DC
we
converter.
actually used it. We
Right.
put it up in the game and just cut the power wires and wired into that and let it do the conversion for us, and we didn't have to run it all the way down to the power supply. But there's several different ways. That video, if I remember right, shows a couple. We kind of talk about that a lot. So maybe watch that video, and I hope that helps you some.
For sure. And we can link to that later, or if somebody in the live chat has a link to that, feel free to post it and we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's a sign that goes on an older golden tee. Now, maybe what he's talking about, Tim, is I think he's talking about the LED sign that has the running text across. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
what I'm saying?
okay.
Like kind of like what you would have with like a plasma display and a pinball machine.
Is that what you're talking about?
I think so. That's what it sounds like. So probably that one that mounts on top of the marquee box that plugs
Yeah,
in. So
it still matters at what kind of voltage goes to it, though.
Right. Now, if I remember, a lot of those older Golden Tee cabinets already had the wiring for that built in, and it was usually like there was a power and a ribbon cable, right? I think is what it was. It's like a power cable and a ribbon cable that go to it. The ribbon cable did come straight off of the board, but the power cable was just basically power. And so if I remember correctly, that was the setup for those. And the power may come off of the PCB for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the power was being supplied separate and that the ribbon cable was controlling all the programming. So
yes,
I believe
that would be my guess, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while. If you check the manual for whichever version of Golden Tee you have, it'll probably give you better directions than what we're giving you here. A lot of those have that tournament. That's a tournament marquee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this tournament mode on it. That tournament mode marquee setup. I'm pretty sure it's a ribbon and like a 3, usually like a 3-pin Molex, like AC style Molex. So if I remember correctly, but check your manual for whichever version of Golden Tee you have, and see if you can find the tournament marquee information. It'll probably be.
And if nothing else, send us some pictures and we can help you with it.
Yeah, exactly. If you have the pictures of the connectors that are coming out of your either out of the marquee itself or out of the cabinet, we can take a look at it. Probably tell you, but again. In this particular case, like the manual is probably going to help you the most. So, and you should be able to find that because I believe they would sell that separately, and you could add it on later for a lot of operators. You could buy the cabinet with the tournament marquee at the top, or you could get it later as an add-on. And so it should be, if you have an actual Golden Tee cabinet, then there's probably a way for you to wire it up pretty easily. If not, you may have to run some Molex and some ribbon cables yourself. So. Yeah, he said, I checked the 2005 manual, says not out, but there are pictures on, there are photos on Google with it on. I'll for sure take photos. Yeah, take some photos and send them over to us. Let's take a look. But I do want to say it was a ribbon cable and 3-pin Molex connector. And it's been a while, though, since we've seen one of those. Those used to be super common. Golly, they used to be super common. So, okay, Tim, I think we're caught up on the live chat for now. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into the questions, but first, an update, Tim. We had an update on a question from Tom from a previous show. I just want to go through this follow-up here real quick. So this was from Tom, who had a Games Family power supply that he was trying to locate. He was having a hard time with it. He said, I finally solved my power issue with my Games Family cabinet. I was strolling down a flea market and found one for €5, Tim. That tells us at least where Tom is a little bit. I was so filthy. It was so filthy and dirty that I had to clean it up properly. Replaced it in my cab, and the moment of truth, after a few minutes, I could hear the fans booting up, making noise, and boom, everything is running perfectly how it was before. So it was a power supply problem, and fortunately not my game board or other deeper issues, hard disk, BIOS, etc. Anyways, thanks for your help and support. Have a great show, Tom. So Tim, we got an update that the game is working again.
Good.
Those are always good updates to get. And remember, guys, if we cover your question here on the live show, we'd love to hear an update from you as well to let us know if you need additional help or maybe you got the problem solved like Tom here. And maybe you even bought a €5 power supply, Tim. I think you got quite a bargain on that.
Sounds like it.
So he did go in. I kind of took some of the detail out. He did say it was at a flea market, and it was apparently an old operator stash that somebody was selling at the flea market.
Nice.
So he just came across just the right power supply at a flea market for his arcade cabinet, and hopefully that thing will run for a very long time. But Tom, congratulations on getting your game up. Hope you enjoy it for many years to come. Well, Tim, let's get into the actual questions for this month. And the first one we have here is from, and this is actually based on the title of tonight's episode, Galaga Power Chord Conundrum, Tim.
Conundrum, okay.
And this is from Yastrimsk.
Okay.
I almost want to say Yastrimsky.
Yeah.
You know, like the baseball player, but it doesn't have an I on the end. So we're going to call him Yastrimsk. And he writes, hello, thanks for taking the time to read my email. I follow your show and thought I'd ask a question. I want to replace my power cord for my Galaga. Just wanted to be sure where each wire goes. I'm assuming green goes with green, and I'm betting that's the ground, just not sure where to connect the other two wires. Sending a pic of the new wire and old cord that's still connected. Thanks for any help. Now, Tim, you can see here, these are actually three different photos. Mm-hmm. On the left, you see that he's got the AC line filter with the 3 wires connected currently. At the top, you can see his original cord with no ground on it, which is probably a good indicator he needs to replace the cord. And then you can see the 3 wires that he has with his new setup. He's got a white, he's got a green, and he's got a black. So that's from the new cord. So Tim, he's not exactly sure where to wire all this up. So what can we tell Yastrimsk here in order to get this wired up properly to his Galaga cabinet?
Well, he was right by saying the green would be ground. Yeah. That was pretty easy. Yeah, pretty simple. It's the other two that get, and it's kind of difficult on his because it has
2 black wires.
2 black wires, okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple ways that he could do it, and without getting too technical, I'll say it'll work probably either way.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? But we do want to wire up the line and the neutral correctly if at all possible, right? Sure. Now, one thing that he could do is look at the prongs, and one of them should be a little bit bigger. I couldn't tell by his picture.
It's hard to tell in the picture, but I think everybody knows what we're talking about, and I may have let me see if I can find a power cord real quick. Keep talking.
Okay.
I'll find one real quick.
So what I would do is I would run a meter from the bigger wire, you know, the fatter one, and then run it on my old cord and see which wire that is. And you could tell whether that was your line or your neutral. So the white wire, I'm sorry,
you're good.
I'm not got to get a drink, but the neutral wire would normally be your white, and the hot wire is normally black.
So I've got a power cord here, and as you guys probably know, it's hard to see on camera.
You can't really tell.
But one prong is usually a little bit fatter than the other, right? And so the fatter one is what you say, Tim? I always forget. The fatter one is the.
Now I'm getting confused. Okay, it's usually the fatter one is usually your
line.
Your
right?
line.
Yeah, fatter one is line. And then
it may be even marked on here.
Yeah, sometimes they actually mark.
It's really hard to read it, but you can read it
saying.
if you got a flashlight or something. You could see that.
Yeah, this one does have it.
L
on that side and on the other side. I see it now. Golly, it's hard to see. You can, so there's an L actually marking on this side and an N marking on this side. Right. So that way, if you're really looking at it, you do need like a flashlight or something like Tim's talking about. And it's really hard when we have like the directional light kind of at us as well for the live show. But this cord, and this is just a standard power cord off a computer, but this one is actually marked
line. That would be normally your black wire.
Yes.
And then the neutral wire, and think white, I always think of it like white being a neutral color.
Right.
It's kind of a neutral color, right? It's not too bright or anything. Just an off-white is neutral. So that would be your neutral wire. And like I said, I guarantee you, I wired them backwards and it works. But we do want to do it. And for a little bit better, I know you're going to show a slide probably from Bob Roberts where he really breaks it down and explains it a little bit better. But that's just as simple as it gets. It's just a quick. You're right. The green is the green.
Yeah, green
and then
is
you
brown.
got. But I would take my meter and check the old wire and see which one was what. Okay, the line is going to the left side, or the line is going to the right side. And I would wire up the new one just like that.
Right, exactly. So Tim,
unless you can see it on the filter, and I don't know that you can.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up here, Tim. Now, I took this image from the realbobroberts.net, and I think it does the best job of kind of telling where everything goes. So you can see this is just a standard AC line filter picture that we have here, Tim. And you can see it says white AC in wire, and it says fuse black AC in, and it has the green wire. And you can put the green wire either on the front like that if yours has it, or on the side like what he's showing here. But this diagram from the Real Bob Roberts should help you. The ground wire, usually green, should go to the center input prong. The AC neutral wire, usually white, should go to the left input prong. And the AC hot/line, usually black, should go to the right input prong. If you're not sure about the colors on your new plug, the AC neutral should be connected to the wider prong on your power plug. And I put neutral line. I made that kind of confusing. What I meant was neutral wire. Neutral you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like line, I'm saying like wires, what I probably should have said there. So if you're not sure about colors on the new plug, the AC neutral should be connected to the wider prong on your power plug. And then for more information, visit therealbobroberts.net/buildit.html. And Tim,
I think we said it backwards, didn't we? It's the neutral line that's to the wider prong.
Yes, okay. So neutral should be wider. Neutral is also white, like Tim mentioned. So, and then again, on this diagram, we would do that on the left side, and then the black on the right side. And Tim, that's pretty standard, I think, for most AC line filters. You're going to see that across the board. And the line filter that he had looks very similar to this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not much different. It's a little bit fatter, a little bit older. This is a newer style line filter, I think, that Bob Roberts is using here. But the same principles apply. And so white on the left, black on the right, and then your neutral wire on the other, and you should be good to go. Anything else here for Yastrimsk?
I don't think so. I hope we didn't confuse him more. We get confused sometimes. I still do. I have to really think about it. If not, just Google line and neutral and see which. You know that the white is a neutral and the black is a line, and that will help you too, okay?
Absolutely. And if you go to that Bob Roberts site, which I also have linked below in the show notes, he has a good explanation of all of that as well. So,
yeah, I still second guess myself when I do it. I have to think about it.
You have to double check it every time.
Double check.
Absolutely. So we'd highly recommend that. But again, white, I mean, here's the thing, Tim. Let's go back to his slide real quick. He has a white, a green, and a black.
Right.
In the order that he's holding them is the order he should hook them up to the line filter, basically.
I think so, yeah.
So even though he's got the two black wires here as the input, if he will take that white wire and put it on the left prong, the green on the center, and the black on the right, should be in good shape.
Yep.
So there we go. So anything else for Yastrimsk, Tim?
No.
Okay, sounds good. So Yastrimsk, hopefully it answers your question, and good luck getting your Galaga power cord wired up properly. Hopefully we gave you some good information. Again, white on the left, black on the right, green in the center should be just fine to go. And like Tim mentioned, it doesn't matter too much except for when it comes to like fuses and things like that, making sure that you fuse it properly. And we do want to try to be correct or as correct as possible anytime we're wiring up anything. And so, again, we want the white on the left, neutral. We want the green on the center, and we want the black, the line on the right. So. Okay, Tim. Oh, we have Nest Retro Games is here. Says thank you for the live stream, and I would say thank you for being here. Is what I would say back. So thank you for being here tonight and joining us for the live stream, Tim. It's been like we talked about, it's been a busy month, but I always enjoy being here with everybody in the live show and just having a good time. So we're glad that you're hanging out with us this evening, and we hope that you come back and watch another one next month, Tim. First Thursday night of every month at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, unless something comes up.
Right.
So
usually first Thursday night.
Yes, I think if you go back, I think our track record is 95%.
Yeah.
Something like that. So
I told my boss I wouldn't go out of town till the second week, so hopefully we'll be on track for next month too.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I did think ahead.
Absolutely. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to another question. Tim, this one's from Greg, as we know, our friend, the ResurRecting.
Okay.
And Greg writes, I want to reposition my Donkey Kong 3 cabinet picture. The game is at the very top of the monitor, and I'd like to bring it down some. Now, Tim, just for everybody's sake here, Donkey Kong 3 is a vertically mounted monitor. So if the top is too high, we're probably talking about the horizontal position.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense, everybody? I just want to kind of verify this real quick. If it's too high at the top with a vertically mounted monitor, we're technically talking about horizontal size and positioning. So keep that in mind. He says, I have room at the bottom. There's a controller, a remote board,
right.
But I have already turned it down as much as I can. And Tim, I don't know if you can see it here, but the pot in the bottom left-hand corner says H-pos for H position. Okay. How do I get this to move down more? There's a horizontal position on the main chassis, but with no adjustment or potentiometer. Can I adjust that? Thanks, Greg. Now, Tim, he did send a picture of the horizontal positioning locator on the board, like the printed part.
Okay.
But what I had to remind Tim, I'm going to remind all of the people out there too, is that the wires from that are going to the remote board.
Right.
That's why there's not a potentiometer there. You can't adjust it there because those wires are going to the remote board, so you can adjust it at the remote board.
So there's no way to do it on the board.
No. Now, you could take those wires out, put a different potentiometer there, but you're effectively doing the same thing as changing it from the remote board.
Exactly.
So that's something to keep in mind. So, Tim, we got Greg here. His picture is at the very top of his Donkey Kong 3 screen. So he's wondering how he can move that down and get it more centered. Basically between the top and the bottom. That's what we're looking at. And so, Tim, what advice would you give to Greg as far as solving this issue that he's having?
Well, he needs to rebuild the chassis now because there are some caps and stuff that will affect this.
Yes. We talked about a horizontal width kit.
Yes.
So a horizontal width kit, which is the little chiclet polypropylene caps, something like that would be helpful for sure. Anything else, Tim?
Well, you like you said, it could be a bad potentiometer. I would ask him this question: if you turn it up, does it get worse?
Yes.
Does it make any difference?
Right.
So if it's making no difference, you could just have a bad board or a bad pot on there.
Sure.
But more than likely, you're going to need to rebuild the horizontal section of his chassis.
Now, something else we can talk about, Tim, is we've talked about this in the past, the horizontal width coil.
Yes.
Okay, the horizontal width coil controls the horizontal width. And so sometimes you can adjust that, and it may actually help move the picture down just a bit and to where you can use the positioning to better align the picture. I mean, sometimes
and he doesn't say what kind of he has.
I'm guessing a 7000. That remote board is pretty common.
It looks like it.
Yeah, I was about to say probably a Wells-Gardner K7000 monitor.
And some of them will have a jumper, where you can jumper over and move it some too. But I bet he would have to rebuild it. Is my guess.
Gotcha. I'm with you. So let's go ahead and put this up real quick, Tim. Let's discuss it. So the H position wires from the main chassis should be going to the H-POS pot on the remote board, the horizontal position pot on the remote board. You might check that the pot is the correct value and has the proper range. You can get a kit to replace all those pots from Arcade Parts and Repair if you want. Try adjusting the horizontal width coil with the H position, so both together, to see if that helps. Now, Tim, I didn't put this on here, but something you said, obviously, was the horizontal width kit. Something I was not thinking of when I initially did this slide. But the horizontal width kit would also be another thing to check. So if you do a search for the real Bob Roberts and horizontal width kit, you can see exactly what we're looking at. Tim, it's basically a kit of chiclet-style capacitors that will help you with your horizontal width. So you may want to do that as well. The other thing I suggested, Tim, is he may try manually shifting the yoke to see if it makes a difference. Sometimes the yoke will slip off the tube just a bit and cause the image to display a bit higher like this. Obviously, be super careful if you try it. Now, Tim, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
All of our recommendations, anytime you mess with that yoke, is to mark where it is.
Yes.
Because it's really, sometimes it works, and sometimes it makes things 10 times worse, and then it's hard to even get back to where you were.
Yeah, now this should be a very tiny adjustment, hopefully, which is what I would say. So what happens is that you have the tube, and you have the yoke sitting on the tube. We got to remember, how is that mounted in the cabinet? Like this, right? So if you move the cabinet, what will happen sometimes? That yoke will
slip a little
gently slip, okay? And so what ends up happening is that when it does that, it starts to project just slightly up on the picture. And so if he will just adjust it forward and down just a bit, I mean, we're talking about not even not even a half inch, not even a quarter of an inch maybe. That may be enough to make a huge difference in his position on his monitor. But again, you're going to be very careful with this. What we recommend doing is turning off the game, rubber gloves, adjust it, turn on the game, see if it's better, kind of thing. So, but adjusting
that'd be my first question though would be, if you turn that position, does it make it worse?
So if you turn the pot.
Right. Because if it doesn't make any difference, then you definitely got some problems that need to be rebuilt in there, in my opinion. Yeah,
and again, those remote board pots can be completely replaced. And if you're going to do the width kit, and you're going to pull them, if you're going to pull the monitor chassis out anyway, why not just go ahead and order the pot kit too and just replace all those pots? You can actually get a whole remote board from
That'd be the easiest thing.
Paradise Arcade Shop sells an entire K7000 style remote board that you could get that has brand new pots and everything on it. But Tim, what does it take to replace a pot? It's like, what, 3 solder joints? It's not very much. So if you wanted to do it yourself, again, down in the show notes, we actually linked to Arcade Parts and Repair and their pot kit for that board, so you could get that and just do some soldering. Especially if you're already going to do the horizontal width kit on it, you may want to do those both at the same time. But it may be, before you try that, the yoke adjustment may be worth just trying. But again, like Tim said, millimeters.
Yeah, be careful. Don't make any drastic changes.
Yeah, and you really just want to push it up and down just a bit. I mean, not very much at all, and see if it gets any better. But Tim, I think we got to give him a lot of things to try. Just to sum that up, let's check that horizontal position pot. Let's make sure it's working and that the range is good on it. Let's try the horizontal width kit if you want to. Order the chiclet style polypropylene capacitors and then get that, install that, see if it makes a difference. And you can also try adjusting that yoke just a bit, maybe down and up a little bit, just to see if it makes a difference in your picture. Hopefully between those 3 things, if you try them, it will get you to where you want to be. Tim, anything else before we move on?
No, I don't think so. Greg, just let us know if we can help you more.
Absolutely. So, Greg, hopefully answers your question. And good luck getting that picture centered just right on your Donkey Kong Country 3. Or Donkey Kong 3.
Sorry.
Cabinet, no country. So. Now, Tim, we got some things here. We got, let's see. Donkey Kong 3 is a hard game to play, but fun. That's from Joe Holt. I agree. I like Donkey Kong 3. It gets a lot of hate sometimes. I know you're spraying stuff up a monkey's backside, but, it's still fun to me. So not too bad.
We used to have one. We love to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good game. Tim, let's see. Current Photograph just donated $10. He said, thanks for the love. Thank you so much, Current Photograph. That's amazing. We appreciate it. We appreciate you and for supporting us. That's amazing. Just thank you so much for that. He's one of our longtime supporters, Tim. Longtime live show viewers, and in that live chat, a lot of first Thursdays of the months. And so we appreciate you too, Current Photograph. Hope you have a wonderful time on your vacation. So, for sure. And then Tim, Nest Retro Game says, discharging a CRT monitor, how dangerous is doing this for a newbie? What would you call it? On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most dangerous thing you could possibly do, what would you rate a discharging a CRT?
Brand newbie, 7.
Okay, maybe. That dangerous?
Well, if you don't really, if you just went in and didn't know what you were doing.
Right.
If you follow our steps, we'll take it down to about a 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Follow our video. I think you'll be fine. Just take a little extra precaution. Make sure your game's unplugged, stuff like that. Honestly, we've all heard horror stories and stuff, but realistically, I have been popped by one pretty hard, and but most of the time, it's really not. Once you do it, most everybody in the chat room that have done it, once you do it a couple times, there's just nothing to it. Then it's just minimum. It's nothing. As long as you're careful and you make sure that you ground it out and everything, it's really not as scary as you think.
For sure.
It's really not as bad. No. Right? I was slightly joking with a 7, only if you didn't know to unplug the game or something like that.
So Tim forgot to unplug the game one time, and I stuck the screwdriver up there to discharge it. I'm still alive. So we're still good. I can't tell you that.
He doesn't have any fillings in his teeth, but the rest of it he's okay.
That's right. No, so I mean, it is dangerous, but just take all the precautions that we talk about in our video, and check out our post as well on discharging a CRT. And
I don't want to minimalize it because it's high voltage and stuff, but at the same time, if you'll just be careful. And if realistically, the right way, which we've been told many times, use a high voltage probe and let it drain down. But most of the time, if you haven't played the game in a while, it's not going to have a lot of. They do store, but we're talking about back in the day. That was games that were on and on and on all the time.
Right.
If you're just recreational playing occasionally, our friend Stan he just take them off with his hands.
Not discharge.
Without discharging. I mean, as long as you don't touch the right stuff, I mean, you're safe. Yep. But I mean, just be careful. Use the right precautions. You'll be fine.
Absolutely. So
it really should be about a 5. I would say a 5.
Arcade Survival says Donkey Kong 3 is terrible. Yeah, it's a very wide spectrum of people who appreciate it and don't appreciate it. I won't say, it's hard to follow up Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., right? Like, both those games are fantastic games. I will say that Donkey Kong 3 is not better than those two games. but on its own, it's fun still. Does that make sense? You okay?
Yeah, it's got a little something down the wrong pipe.
One of these days, I'm going to get a cough button. I just don't, we're going to wire one up so you can hit it real quick, like whenever you do it. But you know how it is.
It is allergies in Texas now.
It is, goodness. And I've been in Oklahoma the past week, I told you, Tim. And in Oklahoma, I was really suffering there. I mean, it was allergies everywhere. So definitely, we're all struggling here. We're getting a little bit cooler weather, a little bit of rain. Maybe it'll help a little bit. Who knows? So. Okay, Tim. Well, with that all said, I think we covered that one pretty well. Let's move on to this next question from Vincent, Tim. And Vincent writes, I have a 3-board Tato Space Invaders cocktail machine that has some issues I'm trying to fix. The invaders themselves are not drawn correctly. The colors are correct, but instead of the invaders, I have solid lines. This leads me to believe that I may have an EEPROM or ROM issue. I've looked at various schematics. All seem to cover up the two boards, but leave out the board with the ROM chips. I assume that once I found the suspect chips, I will need to replace, or I need to flash replacement one somehow. Any direction or help would be greatly appreciated. Regards, Vincent. So, Tim, we have Vincent here, and he's trying to. He actually posted a photo. I'll show it here in a minute. Okay. But he's got like lines where the invaders should be. Does that make sense? So, like where you usually would have the invader guys, the little lines of attacking space invaders at the top, it is just straight lines. So basically, we have no invaders.
It's pretty difficult to play, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're just shooting lines instead of shooting the invaders. And he has the 3-board cocktail set. That's something that should be mentioned here, Tim. So with all that said, I mean, what do you think about Vincent's problem here? What are some things that you would recommend for him?
Well, this could be normally you would. I think he was thinking the right thing, like EEPROMs and ROMs and stuff, but it's probably a bad logic chip on the board and stuff. I don't know that you could probably find the ROMs on hobby ROMs. The best thing to do is just shotgun approach, get a set of ROMs, and just replace them all.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
Now, you mentioned logic chips. With that, he could do like a logic probe of some sort.
Yeah.
It does say he does have a little bit of we'll say experience doing the logic troubleshooting, it sounds like, because he's looking at schematics. Right. So he's at least familiar enough to look at a schematic. So maybe he's familiar enough to use the logic probe too, and at least see if a pin is high, low, or if it's getting voltage or not, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
So you can always do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it probably is. It's a chip for sure, or something's going on with his board.
Right.
I didn't know that. I haven't ran across what he was saying. Only the other boards. I think I know you're going to include a link where we think that he can get all the schematics.
Correct.
And so that'll help him a little bit, sounds like.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that up here, Tim, so we can take a look at it real quick. So first off, a schematic for your 3-board Tato Space Invaders should be available on the Robotron-2084.co.uk website, Tim. They have schematics of several different versions of Space Invaders available. And Tim, I have a link here, which is also down available in the show notes. So if he's looking for that specific schematic, he should be able to find it there. And Tim, you can see here, here's the picture he sent with the lines where the Space Invaders should be. So you can actually see it is Lines Invaders, basically.
It would be really hard to play.
Yeah, Lines Invaders, not Space Invaders, for sure. So while this type of problem can be attributed to EEPROMs and ROM issues, it's commonly caused by a shorted or bad logic chip. Of course, it could be a combination of the two as well. So so Tim, what we would recommend is going through and checking some of the logic chips. And Tim, we actually found a YouTube video of somebody who had a very similar issue, which I've also linked down below in the show description. So if you want to check out that YouTube video, I would. And the only difference between his problem and Vincent's problem was that he had the Space Invaders, but he also had the lines. In Vincent's case, he does not have the Space Invaders. He just has the lines. But I think the problem is going to be in that same logic chip area. And so if he will watch that video, he should be able to hopefully figure out at least the area of the board where he's having some issues. So, but again, this is more commonly caused by a short or bad logic chip, okay? Now, of course, it could be a combination of the two as well. If you need an EEPROM or ROM replacement, you can burn them yourself. Or you can check out Hobby ROMs, Tim, and I also put that down below in the show notes. You can go to hobbyroms.com and get you some EEPROMs or ROMs. Like Tim mentioned, if you just want to get you a complete set from Hobby ROMs and then just try to do like a shotgun approach to it, you could. But again, it may be better to go through some of the logic chips and make sure that the pins that are high are high, pins that are low, they're low, and then voltage is getting to all of those good logic chips on the video display section of the board. And again, the schematic should show you that. Tim, anything else here for Vincent before we move on?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, and Tim, we've used HobbyRoms before, and he was mentioning, like, where do I get that stuff? HobbyRoms.com is where you can get that stuff. He will burn whatever set that you need for your board. And so you just tell him what board set you have, and you can get that burned. Not all of us have chip burners that we can use at any given moment. In fact, nowadays, I feel like if you want to burn chips like that, Tim, you better have an old computer lying around along with your ROM burner because, these chips are getting so old now, some of the newer ROM burners don't do them so well. So, but they have all the stuff at HobbyRoms to burn whatever ROMs you need, so contact them if you need those replacements. Check out the YouTube video that we linked to below in the show notes as well for those lines, and that should get you, hopefully, moving in the right direction. Tim, anything else for Vincent before we move on?
I can't think of anything.
Sounds good. So, Vincent, hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting the lines back into Space Invaders on your Space Invaders cocktail cabinet. Tim, coming over to the live chat real quick. It says, current photograph says, where are all Tato games made under Japan? Or were all Tato games made, I guess, under Japan or in Japan?
No idea.
Not for sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I know some of them made them over here. Obviously, we've got some of them, but I don't know if they were all made in Japan. Obviously, a lot of video games came from Japan, so it's possible that all of them.
Quite possibly the software, the boards and stuff did, but they may have probably made a lot of cabinets and stuff here.
Absolutely. Oh, Vincent's here, Tim. He says, Vincent here, thank you for the information. I'll check out those links, especially HobbyRoms. Yes, so good to have somebody here who's actually got the question. Yes, Vincent, check out that. Again, check out that YouTube video down in the show notes that has, like I said, a very similar problem to what you had. The only difference, he had the lines, but the Space Invaders were gone. But that could have been because his ROM chips were intact, but his logic chips were busted, and you may have both. You may have both going on. And so, but that will at least lead you in the right direction as to where you need to look on your board in order to get it going. And again, the schematics should be found at the Robotron 2084.co.uk website. They've got about 10 different versions of Space Invaders schematics there. Hopefully one of those is your board set. They have one specifically that says 3-board cocktail. So I hope that one will be the one that you're looking for. And if you need additional help, let us know after you try all that. We'd be happy to help you out further. So, oh, Tim, Arcade Survival, just $20.
Wow.
A $20 donation. Awesome. Thank you so much. And he says, phonograph, hold my beer, Tim. So there you go. I love it. Thank you for your support. That is amazing, guys. We love it when you guys do that. It just makes us feel so appreciated. And you guys don't know what it means to us. We appreciate it a bunch. Thank you, Arcade Survival. Thank you, Current Phonograph. And if you guys want to donate, of course, you can hit the super chat button down in the live chat there. We'd love for you to do that. Or if you want to donate at any time, maybe you're listening to this after the fact, you can go to arcaderepairtips.com/donate and donate there. Tim, at one of these times, we're going to have to restructure into a nonprofit because we don't make any money at this. So we probably just need to be a nonprofit organization and make those donations tax deductible.
Yeah.
So they are not tax deductible now, but if we ever reorganize, we'll try to do that.
We'll start the first church of arcade repair.
Sometimes it's easier for a nonprofit to be a church than it is to be a nonprofit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to do something like that. The Church of Arcade Repair Tips would be easier to get incorporated, I think. So who knows? But thank you so much for your donations, guys. We appreciate all of them. So Arcade Survival tonight, Current Phonograph, you guys are the bomb. Thank you guys so much for those. So, okay, Tim. Now I think we only have 2 more questions, but they're both from Frank.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to cover them one at a time because they both involve 2 totally different games and 2 totally different issues. Okay. So let's go ahead and cover Frank's first question here, Tim. The first one is, I have a Miss Pac-Man Galaga reunion game with a K7400 that plays blind and has a ticking sound. There is no net glow, and the power supply did read 12 and 5 volts, so it's getting the DC volts down. No obvious cold solder joints. From research, I figured it was the hot at Q704, so I replaced it along with the flyback. Installed a full cap kit, including replacing C121 and C119, and replace Q101, which I believe is a transistor as well, Tim.
Yeah.
So after the updates, I turned it on and still had no picture, but I did have net glow and a burning smell for about 5 minutes. I was happy for about that 5 minutes. Then the net glow was gone and the ticking returned. Please advise. Now, Tim, Frank has done a lot of troubleshooting here already. Okay, he's basically done the shotgun approach of repairing this monitor. He's done the cap kit, he's done the flyback, he's done the hot, he's even replaced another transistor, but he got net glow for like just a little bit,
right?
5 minutes, and then after the 5 minutes, kaboosh, and like it all blew up again on him. Okay. So with that in mind, Tim, what is the next steps here for Frank in order to get this K74 up and running? Tim, very common monitor, especially in newer games. We see K74s in a lot of newer games. And if you've ever done a cap kit on this sucker, Tons of caps.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, tons of caps. So
well, they don't always come with all the filter caps. That's one thing I will say.
right.
Don't forget some of those.
Sure.
Because I have heard that ticking be a little filter cap before and cause a lot of this issues. But we really need to determine if the B plus voltage it may be just an adjustment issue.
Sure.
That's something we need to determine is the voltage actually going through the power supply section of the monitor and switching it over to DC. How is that working properly?
Sure. So he needs to check his B plus.
He definitely needs to check his B plus.
Yeah, and if it's too high, of course, it can cause stuff like this.
Right.
It can cause some blowing of parts and things like that.
And then so we can take a look at the regulator and things like that. But he really has done a lot that we would normally suggest or that it could be. But he didn't really, this is kind of like the step 101 is to find out where is the voltage going? Where does it end? It comes here, but is it coming out here? Where's the stopping place?
For sure.
And that will help this a little bit. And maybe some of those, don't forget, I know like you said, there's a lot of caps in that kit, but even some of the best kits don't come with all of them.
Sure.
And some of the worst kits don't come with enough of them.
Sure.
So, I don't know where he got his cap kit from, but if you want to, you can check the B plus voltage, and maybe if it's too low, it could be that kind of symptom. Mike can adjust that up some.
For sure. Okay, I'll go ahead and throw this up here, Tim, so we can talk about it. Now, a lot of people may not know that the K7400 has a wonderful troubleshooting guide, okay, that tells you everything, okay? So while the HUD is the most common cause of this problem, Tim, we should say that up front, it is not the only thing that can lead to this issue. First off, check the B plus voltage like Tim mentioned and adjust if needed. You can check it at TP202. There's a test point.
Good.
Test point 202. That's what that stands for. And it should be around 117 volts DC. If it's too low or too high, it can cause this kind of symptom. I put too low, but if it's too high as well, we could have the same problem. Okay, so make sure it is dialed in. You want to be right around that 117 volts DC on that B plus. If the B plus voltage is good or you can't get it dialed in, you probably need to dig deeper into the power supply in order to solve this one. Take a look at the regulator at U101. Tim mentioned the regulator there. Wells-Gardner also has an official troubleshooting guide for the model. Make sure you check all of the components in the set dead section, okay? And so we link to this down below in the show notes, Tim, the troubleshooting guide from Wells-Gardner. The very top one says set dead. And what we mean is like TV set dead is what that means. And so next to it has a whole list of parts. You need to check all those parts and make sure that all those parts are working properly, Tim. I could list them all here, but it's like a dozen.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like a dozen different parts. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're checking all of those parts in that set dead section. Now, again, B plus voltage is key, like Tim mentioned. If the B plus voltage is good, that means your power supply is fine, but there's something happening upstream that may be causing the issue, right? Exactly. If your B plus is not good, that means that we do have a power supply issue, something actually going on in the power supply. And so, like we said, we need to dig deeper at that point. But again, the troubleshooting guide from Wells-Gardner will help you do that. Look at regulator 101, U101, Tim. Make sure that that is working properly. And again, test point 202 for that B plus voltage. And that should help you as well. Tim, anything here for Frank's first question before we move on to a second?
No, let's go to the second question.
Well, I'll go ahead and wrap it up real quick before we do. So on the Galaga Miss Pac-Man reunion that you have, again, let's check that B plus voltage at test point 202. Let's see what it is. Let's get it dialed into 117 volts DC. And then check your regulator at U101. And again, the entire set dead section of the troubleshooting guide from Wells-Gardner. And hopefully between all of that, you should be able to get your monitor working again. Again, Tim, a lot of documentation on the K7400. A lot of different games use that monitor. Very common 25-inch monitor. So if you need additional help, we can help you out with that as well. So now, Tim, let's go to the second question from Frank.
Okay.
And Frank writes, I have a 2-player championship sprint that works great except for the pedals. When you start a game, the cars go at top speed without pushing the pedal. I disconnected the pedals and the cars still go at top speed. I don't even know where to begin on this one. Please advise. Now, Tim, Championship Sprint is an older style driving game, right? So this is not like the one where you sit and you see yourself. This is like the one where you look at the little car as you're driving it. Kind of
right.
Thing. Okay, so this is a good game. It's very popular, but he's obviously having problems with his pedals, Tim. And so what are some things that Frank can do to get his pedals working again on this Championship Sprint arcade cabinet?
Well, he needs to go into the test mode and to make and calibrate them. Sometimes it just may be the way it's set. It's literally set that it's full pedal to the floor which is how most people play it anyway, right?
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
at the same time, if you can't get it to do that after retesting it, it'll tell you to push and do your limits and stuff. And if it's not changing or anything, then you may need to replace the potentiometer, or without it. What I like is he says he unplugs it and it still does that.
Right.
I can understand though if that's the last value it was told, that wouldn't matter.
Correct.
But if that's changing and stuff, and you're able to see that it is reading high and low, then you got a board issue somewhere.
There you go. Okay, I think that's pretty easy, Tim. It's kind of like light gun games. How we have to calibrate the light gun to make sure that it's shooting properly. Same kind of thing with the pedals in these kind of games as well. So from your description, it sounds like the pedals may need to be recalibrated. Try entering the self-test mode and checking the results of the pedal test. If the pedal values do not change when you depress the pedal, then try recalibrating them. All the instructions for this can be found in the manual, Tim, and I believe we put a link to the manual down below in the show description. If you still cannot get the values to change in the pedal test after recalibration, you could have an issue with your game board. Trace back through the game board from where the pedals are connected and check all the way back through all the parts and chips along that line to see if there's any shorted and or broken pins. Tim, that's a lot less common, we would say.
Yeah.
And it's more probably an issue with your recalibration. Tim, something else you may need is if you hit the pedal and the values don't change, you could have a bad pot on the pedal as well.
That is definitely true.
And so you may need to buy a new pot before you can recalibrate, depending on what the problem is. Tim, I also think this board just kind of defaults to top speed if it's having any kind of issues, period. And so it may just be that the board defaulted to top speed, because that way people can still play the game. Right, and that's what you want. If you're an operator, you want to continue playing.
It could just be that the gears are not lining up with the potentiometer anymore and stuff like that. So sadly, you're going to have to get in there and take it apart and really look at it.
Yeah. So what you'd probably want to do, Tim, if it were us, I'd test the potentiometer on the pedal, make sure I'm getting the full range of motion on that potentiometer. Then I would do the recalibration, make sure it's all changing. And if I still have problems at that point, then I'm probably thinking game board at that.
Probably.
So that's probably what you want to do. Check the potentiometer on the pedal, make sure it's working right. Then try to do the recalibration through the test mode. And again, check the manual link below in order to get that.
Make sure your gears aren't stripped and that it's actually moving that potentiometer.
Yeah, so the gears on the potentiometer, like when you press the pedal down, right, there's a gear that moves the potentiometer and adjusts it up and down. And so like Tim mentioned, those gears will become stripped over time. And then it may not be that the potentiometer is busted. It may be that the gear is busted, right? So you may have to replace the gear in order to turn the potentiometer. And
what I used to do is take the potentiometer out of its little holder and I would just turn it by hand and see if that made any difference, or if I could start the game, could I go down and low that way. But usually the gears are obvious, they're really worn and they're just not making contact and moving the other gear.
And on potentiometers, you can check. We have a video on checking potentiometers as a multimeter. It comes down to ohms. You want to put the ohms on it, put it on the on the potentiometer, and see if you're getting any value changes when you're turning. So, but again, you can replace that. Potentiometers aren't usually very expensive, right, Tim? Of course, everything's expensive now. But they're usually kind of cheap, so you could always get a replacement.
The gears are probably harder to find.
Agreed. So you may have to, I don't know, 3D printing nowadays, that seems like something that'd be right for that, you'd think. But you may need a replacement gear as well to turn the potentiometer, so if that's the case, let us know. We'll help you locate one. But otherwise, just try the pedal test, the recalibration, see if it's working for you, and see if the pedal's turning the potentiometer. And then once you recalibrate, still have problems, try the board. Let's check the board. Trace back through from the pedal inputs all the way through all the logic chips and see if we got any issues through that line. So, okay, Tim, anything else for Frank?
No, don't think so.
Okay,
good luck, Frank.
Frank, good luck on both these games, the championship sprint and on your Miss Pac-Man Galaga reunion cabinet. Hopefully, with all the advice we gave you tonight, you'll be able to get both these games up and running pretty soon. And please update us if you have anything to tell us, and we'd love to hear. Any kind of progress that you made on them. So. Okay, Tim, well, we're about to go into our discussion section here, but I want to go ahead and check up on the live chat real quick before we do, Tim. Let's see. Current Phonograph says just call them tips, like the money that they gave us. We got some tips tonight, Tim. There you go. Let's see. Arcade Survival, Arcade Repair Tips. Send that chassis to Paul Duray. Yeah, if you want to, you can send it to Paul. So like on the K7400, he could probably handle that one pretty well. Pretty common monitor. I think Paul can handle that. Joe says you got to be careful remaining functional arcade repair tips or service heavy arcade repair tips is is an interesting acronym. Yes, it is. So just depending on what you're doing. Now, art, we've always kind of gone by art kind of unofficially. But we're still arcade repair tips. Art is just like an easy way to say it. There's a lot of things that are art, though, right? So, but arcade repair tips, or just tips like we talked about. No, functional arcade repair tips is what we should go by. That's what he was saying.
Okay.
Then you're,
functional. Okay.
Yeah, you get it?
Well, we're not always functional.
That is true. So, anyway.
Dysfunctional, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a whole... exactly, that'd be a whole different thing. But anyway, guys. Always having some fun. Arcade repair tips until we decide to change it. So
okay.
So we do have some discussion, Tim, for this month. I don't know how many of these stories you've been keeping up with.
I've seen most of them.
Okay, so as you guys know, on our social media pages, how often do we post stories, Tim?
Every single day.
Every single day. Every single day, there's a bit of arcade news there for you, or at least a post. It may not be news. So what I do is I take the most viewed and popular news stories from the month, and we're going to cover them here on the live show. We're going to get Tim's input on them, and my input. We'll talk a little bit about them. And Tim, our first news story is probably a topic that we've covered more than any other one, I feel like sometimes, and that is Billy Mitchell, Tim.
Okay.
And so Billy Mitchell is in the news again because Karl Jobst is suing the former Donkey Kong record holder for defamation in a Florida court. Okay, so YouTuber Karl Jobst has filed a new defamation lawsuit against former Donkey Kong record holder Billy Mitchell in the United States, Florida specifically, Tim, alleging that Mitchell made false statements that damaged his reputation and career. The case comes after Jobst previously lost a 2025 defamation suit in Australia and was ordered to pay significant damages. In this new filing, Jobst also accuses Mitchell of emotional distress and misuse of his name and likeness. So, Tim, I think they're just going back and forth here, right?
Yeah,
so Billy won. Billy won kind of the first round, I guess, of all of this stuff. Carl's coming back for the second round. Tim, do you have any thoughts on any of this?
I really care less. I mean, it maybe talk for a little bit, but I don't really. It doesn't bother me. I don't know. I don't put two thoughts into it, really.
Billy, Tim, obviously we both met Billy Mitchell before.
Yep.
Okay, and we both kind of, I think, I knew the name. I didn't know as much about him until the King of Kong came out.
Right.
Right. At that point, I think we got a little bit more familiar with who Billy Mitchell was. And then now, of course, with all the stuff Carl has been really interesting as far as like the stuff like he was accusing Billy Mitchell of, and then Billy Mitchell coming back with the defamation suit, and now Carl coming back with the defamation suit. It's just a real back and forth right now.
Drama.
Yeah, it really is. And somebody says Arcade Survival. Billy Mitchell is drama, Tim, and that is correct. Yes, he is drama.
Certain people, drama likes to follow, and he's one of them.
Absolutely, Tim. But, I mean, here's the thing. He is a good video game player. I think I've always said that. I mean, you can say whatever you want about him, but he has skills. He definitely has skills at playing video games, and he's very talented at that. Is he the tippy top? Don't know. But he's definitely up in I'd say the top 10 to 5 to 10% of probably arcade players and their scores. Okay. And I mean, did do the perfect game of Pac-Man. I mean, there's a lot of talent there, I think, with Billy Mitchell as far as playing is. But Tim, to go along with that talent, there's also been a lot of accusations and other things that have kind of come out about that. And I don't know if that's just from the fact that when you're at the top levels that people tend to harass you more, or if that's really, truly the case.
Maybe that's actually Billy Mitchell derangement syndrome.
Yeah, maybe. There you go. I have no idea. But I know a lot of you guys just are not interested in Billy Mitchell news at all, which is kind of why I put that in the post, if you notice. But I feel like we have to cover it a little bit because it is arcade related, if that makes sense. So, and it's interesting, if nothing else. But for the most part, we're just kind of keeping you up to date, not giving you a whole lot of, not trying to dive real deep into it here. If you want to dive deep into it, there's probably a YouTuber out there that will dive deep with it. But
I think so.
We're not getting into it deep here. Just kind of telling you what's going on so that way you can keep up with it going forward. Okay, Tim, here is our next news story. Now, Tim, this one was very interesting, I thought. South Carolina, there's a lawsuit in South Carolina that says that Dave & Buster's games are illegal gambling.
Wow.
Okay, a South Carolina advocacy group has filed a federal lawsuit against Dave & Buster's, claiming its arcade redemption games amount to illegal gambling because players spend money for a chance to win prizes. The suit argues that even skill-based games qualify as gambling under state law if money is risked for rewards. And it seeks to recover customer losses, Tim. That's probably the big thing.
Oh, wow.
The case could have major implications on the legal status of arcade-style games, especially in states with strict gambling laws. So, Tim, basically what we're talking about here is redemption. I mean, let's not beat around the bush.
Right.
Everybody, we're talking about redemption games. And so this lawsuit, Tim, though, if it succeeds, that could really lead, that'd be a bad thing, I think, for Dave & Buster's and all arcades that use redemption pieces. How do you feel, Tim, about the parallel with illegal gambling and places like Dave & Buster's?
I'd say nobody's twisting your arm making you do it.
Right.
You
could say the same thing about gambling.
But you're having fun when you're playing the game.
You could say the same thing about gambling.
You could. And so I would just say it just seems like what are they really wanting to get out of the deal? I don't know. Just that Dave & Buster's shut down in their area or something.
Now, to be frank with you, I think that in states where gambling is already legal, this would not be a problem.
Right.
Okay, it's really in states. South Carolina, I think, would be one of those. Texas is one of those where gambling is illegal. Right? So in places where gambling is illegal, this
could have big implications.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, in all states where gambling is considered illegal, redemption may be considered illegal too. Now, Tim, they're going after the customer losses. I mean, golly, how much money is that?
Okay, but let me ask you this. I can walk into the casino and leave with nothing. In fact, I could be in the hole.
Yes, you could.
I'm always going to get a prize.
That's right. Yeah, Dave & Buster's, you can always walk out with something.
Always.
It may not be worth what you spent.
Right.
But you'll walk out with something.
Right.
Yeah.
So that to me is the difference.
Okay, I like that. That's not something I've thought about before. So at a standard redemption style arcade game, you will walk away with something. Right. It may not be as much as what you spent.
Yeah, but it's in the eye of the beholder. A little toy army man to me is worthless, but to a 3-year-old kid, it might be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing: you have fun playing the games too, or you should.
Exactly. Right.
So I think it's hard because of how close it is to gambling in a way, the redemption. And like you said, the problem is that you're still kind of leaving in the hole. Okay, because like you get an army man that was 5 cents, but you spent $20 on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're still kind of leaving in the hole.
You are.
So you do get something, but you, in a way, you're still out the money, right? But you could be out in gambling. You could be out way more than what you brought in, right? Yeah, for sure.
But if they're giving free drinks, I don't feel like I was gambling.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, that's true.
I feel like I had some fun. If I leave with any money, I could at least got some free drinks out of the deal.
Right.
Or buffalo wings or buffet,
I don't think we've seen the problem with redemption games where you have like gambling addicts that will like gamble away everything. I don't think we have redemption addicts that are out there like just.
I don't know. Some kids are pretty addicted.
Yeah, that's true.
I can see it in some ways, but then again, it just seems like there are bigger fish that they should be worried about.
I'm gonna come over to the live chat real quick and see. Let's see. Let's see. Better sell your Dave & Buster's stock. Okay, so I might. You know, Tim, it has lost a lot. To be honest with you, I've lost a lot of money at it, and it's so. So we'll see. We'll see. I may end up selling it at some point. Who knows? But I think there's a fine line there. I like your argument, Tim, that you leave with something because, like in gambling, you leave with just debt, basically, or nothing. So you do leave with something.
And there are times when I just keep them on my card. Probably the next time, maybe when I'm in Tallahassee, I'll go to Dave & Buster's. Go on Wednesday nights when it's half-price games. Yeah. And I definitely could, for my meal includes a $20 card. I can usually win enough to bring my granddaughters a prize home or something.
See, me and Tim know all the secrets to Dave & Buster's. That's the key. Half-price nights, then get the dine and play deal combo, dine and play combo. You see, if you do all that, then you're coming out better.
Yeah, so, a lot better.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
But I've also walked into Dave & Buster's with $20 and felt like it went fast.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, gone.
Absolutely.
Out of there.
So they're actually bringing one to our local location. They're in the process. They've got the banners up, but they haven't built anything there yet. But hopefully they will soon. I'm looking forward to going to Dave & Buster's. I like it.
I'll get to do their audit.
Oh, there you go. So that'll be good. Hopefully it'll happen soon. But what do you guys think if you're in the live chat? Do you think that redemption is illegal gambling? Right. So like if you're in a state
Vegas for kids,
right? If you're in a state where gambling is illegal, do you think that redemption should be illegal too?
Right.
I mean, that's a good question. So
but
let's see.
To me, the lottery is gambling.
Yeah, but that's legal. It's run by the state.
Right.
That's the difference.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe the state needs to have all the redemption games. Maybe. Then it would be okay.
Yeah. Joe says we're in such a litigious society. Just sue everybody and see what sticks. It's true.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's part of this.
What it is.
So for sure. Here's our next one here, Tim. I think this one was pretty interesting. Somebody had a good take on it, too. I'll tell you here in a second. I knew there was something special here. Retro Collector makes history by resurrecting rare Nintendo coin-op game. A retro collector discovered rare 16mm film reels from Nintendo's 1974 arcade game Wild Gunman and used them to recreate a fully playable version of the long-lost coin-op. By scanning the surviving footage and combining it with modern tech, he rebuilt the experience of one of Nintendo's earliest and rarest arcade machines, originally designed by Gunpei Yokoi, Tim. The same guy who did the Game Boy, in case you didn't know.
Right.
The project preserves a piece of gaming history that had nearly disappeared, with the restored game now being set to be showcased publicly. So, Tim, I don't know. Have you ever seen Wild Gunman?
Never heard of it.
It is Mad Dog McCree.
Okay,
it is the same kind of gameplay where we've got a video. But here's the thing. Not Laserdisc, right?
Right.
Like a 16mm film reel.
Okay.
So, like, it would play the reel, and then I guess it knew at a certain point you're supposed to shoot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, way before we had Laserdisc games like this. This was, 1974.
1974, yeah.
Okay, so way before we had Laserdisc versions of this. This is kind of the same concept as Mad Dog McCree. And so somebody found the footage and they recreated the entire game. So pretty cool stuff, Tim, especially considering this is earlier than Donkey Kong.
So if you're going garage sale shopping and you see one of these, you should pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But this is earlier than,
rare.
like I said, a Donkey Kong cabinet or anything else that Nintendo did. I know
Right.
we think...
I didn't even know Nintendo had anything that old.
Right, like what, Radar Scope or whatever that one
Yeah.
is, and some of the other ones. I mean, they had some really early arcade games, but this may be the earliest of all of the Nintendo games that we know of. So very interesting, and I'm glad they were able to reconstruct
cool.
it. Well, our friend Whitney, he was involved in the Sky Kid Nintendo, revival when they revived that arcade game, and now we've got another one here. I think it's really cool. So. Good stuff here. Anytime we can revive or keep a piece of history alive that wasn't alive before, I think we can all appreciate that. Tim, maybe we'll get a chance to play it at some point. I'm
cool.
kind of curious. Would definitely like to play it as a big Nintendo fan. I think it'd be definitely worth our time. So, Arcade Survival says yes, it's gambling. And Chuck E. Cheese Child Casino, Tim. I think that CECCC is that what it is? So I think you're right in a way. I will say this: Chuck E. Cheese is way cheaper than Dave & Buster's.
It is
because it's one credit for everything, right? Everything is one credit. Dave & Buster's, some games are a little bit more, some games are a little bit less. Depends on what games you're playing, kind of thing. But
you really get some cool prizes at Dave & Buster's.
You can, yeah. Dave & Buster's has way better prizes than Chuck E. Cheese. But with Chuck E. Cheese, it's like if you have 5 credits, you can play 5 games. At Dave & Buster's, you have no idea how much that's going to get you. It depends on the games you're playing. Coin pushers are cheap. I know that. So, and so are Cyclones, Tim. So, stuff like that. But, so I think that's a little bit... Sky Skipper. Thank you, Arcade Survival. That's great. Sky Skipper was the game, not Sky Kid. Sky Skipper.
Okay.
But, yeah, so those early Nintendo games are really cool, though, Tim. So, good stuff there. Okay, I got 2 more stories here, Tim. This one is super interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. A retired Microsoft engineer is training an AI to master Robotron 2084, an incredibly difficult arcade game about a robot uprising. And this is from PC Gamer, Tim. A retired Microsoft engineer is training an AI to master Robotron 2084, an arcade game known for its chaotic gameplay and constant split-second decision-making. The project pushes AI beyond simple patterns, forcing it to handle unpredictable threats, prioritize objectives, and make real-time trade-offs under pressure. The engineer is using it to explore the limits of both artificial intelligence and classic game design. Tim, if you were going to train AI on an arcade game, would this be the arcade game you would train it on?
Well, that'd be one of them.
Yeah,
that's a hard one.
It's very difficult for those of you guys who have not played.
And
Robotron.
watching somebody that's really good at it's awesome.
Yes,
so I would like to see how good a computer could do.
Absolutely.
I vote on Robotron.
Robotron?
Yeah, that's a good game.
For sure, and it is very difficult. Like it said, it is chaotic. I think would be a good way to say it, and it is split-second decision-making for sure. Tim, I suck at it. I am terrible at Robotron. If I can make it past the first level, I feel like I've accomplished something. It is very... I am not a huge twin-stick shooter guy anyway.
I've never owned one and played it that much.
Yeah, exactly.
I play it when we go to arcade conventions, and then I move on to something else pretty quick.
It's fun to play. It's fun.
I love to watch somebody who is good at it play.
Yeah. And it is fun. It's just hard. I think it's fun gameplay. It's just very difficult.
To me, most Williams games are hard.
Well, I feel like Robotron's in that window with like Sinistar, where they were starting to make arcade games harder because people are getting so good at them so quickly. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so
Quarter eaters.
Yeah, they were quarter eaters, and so like at that point, they were trying to make arcade games harder in order to keep people playing. But the problem is I think in some cases they made them too hard, and so people just stopped playing them altogether. And so, but Robotron is fun. It is difficult, and it's probably a great game to train AI on because it is so difficult, and the patterns are kind of they're all over the place. There's not really a certain pattern to follow. It's more about survival, like I talked about. So I do think in a way it is probably one of the better games to train AI on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but any other thoughts about Robotron or any of this, Tim?
I'd like to hear more on that one and how it turns out.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll keep up with it, and if I get any more updates, I will definitely post them here in the show. Tim, coming over to the live chat real quick. Let's see. Joe says, "I have a family member that has a gambling problem. I never had to show up to bail him out of a Dave and Buster's."
Good point.
Yeah, exactly. Joe says the Wild Gunman restoration was insanely cool. It was. It looks great. So, good job there. But yeah, I think that's the difference between like gambling and redemption is like, I feel like when you're done with redemption, you're just done. You can't keep playing, right? I mean, most people are not going to go to the ATM.
Go hawk your...
Right, and hawk something to keep playing.
Right.
Because here's the thing. They know you're not going to win. I think the amount that you're going to win is what it comes down to.
you there's hope in gambling that you could hit it big.
Right.
There's not a real big hope when you go to Dave & Buster's. I might get out with a stuffed plush toy or a basketball or something, but I don't expect to win the biggest prize that they have.
Right. And at Dave &
If I
Buster's,
do, I'll just keep saving my points.
At Dave & Buster's, for me, the key is to hit as many jackpots as possible. Trying to get as many tickets as I can. And it's like, yeah, I won big on one game, but that's not enough to get me to the prize I want, so I'm going to keep playing because of that. It's like I'm trying to get tickets. But even a lot of times, unless you've got like just a real insight on a certain game, you're going to end up spending more money than what the prize is worth. And most people know that. And so you're really just having fun. I mean, that's the whole point. You're having fun, and you're also earning prizes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Arcade Sphero, I'm having an issue with my Funhouse pinball game. Hopefully you guys can help me. When the game is powered off, Rudy talks. He says, don't fall asleep, Chucky. Any help would be appreciated. If the game is still going on when the power switch is off, you need to just make sure that make sure it's wired. Make sure that the Rudy is wired to where he is supposed to be wired instead of being wired directly to like the power supply. Maybe he's not wired through the power switch, or maybe he's just pulling our leg.
Yeah, or maybe yours is haunted.
Yeah, exactly. Yours was haunted, man.
Yeah.
So
I don't really know enough about. Maybe one of the pinball groups would be better. I don't know. I've never heard of that issue, but we could research it.
I mean, I think, like I said, if you wired it right, you could wire around, I'm saying some of the stuff, but you'd still have to run the board in order to get him to say anything. So, anyway. So, there you go, guys. Let us continue on to our last bit. Now, Tim, this was a Texas story. Okay. Okay, and I just, this has happened to us, right? We should say that just right off the bat. Okay, but let's talk about what it is so that way everybody else knows. TXDOT, which is Texas Department of Transportation, warns drivers to secure loads after man nearly hits arcade machine on Edinburg Road, Tim. So here you go. The Texas Department of Transportation is warning drivers to properly secure items after a man in Edinburg nearly crashed into a Centipede arcade machine lying in the middle of the road. The incident highlights how unsecured loads can become dangerous hazards to other drivers. Officials are urging motorists to double-check their vehicles to prevent potentially serious accidents, Tim. So, and this is from KRGV. And Tim, this got a lot of traction on our socials. So this has happened to us. We had an arcade game jump out of our truck.
We had a strap break.
No, it wasn't a strap. We were using bungee cords. And that was the first thing that you should know. We were out of straps, like ratchet straps, and we were using bungee cords. And the bungee cord broke and pulled that sucker right out.
Slingshotted it out.
Slingshot it right out of the bed. And so, ever since then, guys, ratchet straps. In fact, if we don't have enough ratchet straps, we just go get more ratchet straps. And we just keep them on hand at all times, I feel like, right?
Yeah, ours looks like a mummy now.
Yeah, exactly. We are strapped to the gills. Now, Tim, you'll notice, I want to show the picture here real quick. You'll notice it's the cabinet there, and you also see the monitor.
Yeah.
So, if it would have been us, I probably would have picked up that monitor.
I was going to say, but how many people would be complaining if you're going down the road and you almost hit an arcade cabinet?
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be like, pull over and get the cabinet, right?
Yeah, but could you imagine how bad that would tear up like a car if it actually hit it? Like if a little itty bitty putt car, like a a Honda Fit. That thing, the Honda Fit may not be here anymore.
Right.
I'm just saying. So
that's a heavy duty cabinet.
Yeah,
there.
exactly. The Honda Fit would probably it would collapse into itself because that thing's so heavy. But Tim, it didn't look like it may have been a dedicated, but it didn't look like it to me. It looked like it was a conversion. But it did have a monitor in there, as you can see. So, I mean, it did have some. And there may have been boards in there. But I noticed when they went back on the video to check the cabinet that the monitor was gone. And the boards may have been gone, too. There may not have been boards.
Somebody knew it was value.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they want the cabinet, apparently, Tim. So, the cabinet was still there. But anyway, guys. So, just be careful when you're strapping down your games. What'd I say? Ratchet straps. Ratchet straps. That's what you want. Ratchet straps. Go to your local hardware store, whatever that is. If it's Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, grab you a ton of ratchet straps. Tim, get you the big boy. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that's got the
really
3-inch.
one.
Yeah, the 3-inch width on the strap. I promise you, just put that thing over the top and then strap it down. With a couple more around the outside. That thing, like we like to say, Tim, that thing's not going anywhere.
Right.
So there you go. Yeah, and Encore's Arcade said Frogger for real.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, when the game ejects the vehicle, do you stop or keep driving? We stopped.
Right.
We pulled over and we put it back in the truck. But the problem is we couldn't strap it down anymore.
Right.
And so I think we took all the parts out of it and we dumped it in a dumpster.
Yeah.
So,
it was pretty busted.
Yeah, because the cabinet
monitor
got
was definitely gone.
No, monitor worked.
No, we got the monitor.
Monitor worked, and it only had a monitor in it.
I was thinking maybe the glass and stuff was
Yeah,
shattered.
like that kind of stuff was gone. And so if it falls out of your truck, please pick it up. Obviously,
Right.
If it's late, you may not realize it. We obviously realized it pretty quickly, but it just depends.
Or if you got a cabinet you just want to get rid of, just throw it out the back of your car and see who hits it.
Yeah. Nate says I've got way too many straps. Probably 7 for one game. Never can have enough.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, Nate. You demand. So this is all of the straps. You need as many straps as you can possibly get. They're not expensive. In fact,
Right.
I think Harbor Freight will run like the special, right? Like where you can get them for free almost. Like are significantly cheaper. I forget what I really like what the discount is, but you can get them for a very cheap amount. Yeah, exactly. So wait for the Harbor Freight deal. And the Harbor Freight ones will work fine for a while. I've got some Harbor Freight. I've got some Lowe's, some Home Depot. We bought them from all different places. Don't let them get in knots.
Right.
Because if they get in knots, they tend to get damaged as you pull them tight, and they will break that way. And so if you develop a knot in one of your ratchet straps, just go ahead and undo that bad boy and get it back to normal. It'll help you a lot. Well, Tim, I think we're going to wrap it up right there.
Okay.
That's it for the actual regular live show here. We do want to remind you guys that we want your arcade-related videos. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're always looking for people to submit short videos, 10 minutes or less, about arcade-related topics. Send a link of your video to questions@arcaderepairtips.com, and our staff will review it. If we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure you put in a plug for your channel so people know where to find you. And we look forward to seeing your submissions. Tim, we haven't had any submissions in a while, but I do want to continue to put this out there in case we do have people who want to get some free advertising for their channel. A lot of you guys may be just on the cusp of getting monetized and you just need a little bit of a bump. And if that's the case and you have arcade-related content, send it our way. Let us review it. And if we like it, we'll play it here on the live show and send some people to your channel. Hopefully enough to get you monetized. That's the whole idea. So, and they keep raising those monetization limits, which really sucks. Tim, we are pretty secure in the fact that our content's kind of evergreen and always gets enough hits. But there's a lot of you guys who may not be able to get to that threshold. And so hopefully we can help you out. So if we can, send your video over to questions@arcaderepairtips.com and we'll take a look at it. And if we like it, we'll give some free advertising to your channel. And then, Tim, we have our contact information. Of course, we have our general email at questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Questions@arcaderepairtips.com. If you put live show in the subject, we will save it for the show. Otherwise, we will answer it whenever we get around to it, which, Tim, may still be the live show, depending. So, again, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. The best way to get a hold of us is at questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Shoot us an email there, and we will cover your question in some form or fashion, whether that's a reply, whether that's on the live show. We will get around to it at some point. Now, Tim, I do need to say we do have a very strong spam filter, as you can imagine, because we get a lot of spam. So if you do not get a reply or something from us, and you know you sent us a question, send it again, just to make sure, because that stuff gets caught a lot of times, and so it may be that it didn't go through the first time. Send it again, and just ask us if we got the first time or whatever, and we'll be better about getting back to you that second time if it didn't come through the first. So. We also have our YouTube page at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Of course, all you fine people in the live chat know that already, but maybe you're listening to this on the audio podcast feed and you'd like to check out the video for this episode. You can check it out at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com and just look up episode 111 of the live show to check all that out. And again, comments from the last live show will be covered on the next episode. So if you're leaving a comment here, you can expect us to cover it hopefully on episode 112, as long as it's, not too close to showtime. But again, youtube.arcaderepairtips.com for all of the YouTube video goodness that we have. We'd love for you guys to leave comments and other things there as well. And then, Tim, we have our audio podcast feed, which it has our live show audio. It has interviews, our interviews podcast, question and answer podcast, all that kind of stuff. And you can find that on all sorts of different podcast outlets, but especially on Spreaker at spreaker.arcaderepairtips.com, Spotify at spotify.arcaderepairtips.com, or iTunes at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com. And the good thing about all of those platforms is you can leave us a review. And so if you'd be so inclined to leave us a 5-star review, either on Spreaker, Spotify, iTunes, or whatever your podcast app of choice is, we would greatly appreciate it. iTunes is probably the best just because we feel like we get the most exposure there. But if you want to leave one on Spreaker or Spotify, that would be great too. So we would highly appreciate that. We do want to remind those of you who are listening to this on the audio podcast feed that you will not get the after show, which takes place about 5 minutes after the live show. So if you want to listen to the after show, which is basically me and Tim hanging out for like an hour, is basically what that is, then you will need to come to this episode on the YouTube page, so episode 111 on the YouTube page, and then go to the live show start section, which, Tim, we chapterize all of our live show videos. So once I put the chapters on, you should be able to just click it and find it very easily. But if you're on the audio podcast, if you want the after show, you will need to go to the video for this episode and check that out. And then, Tim, we got our social media pages. We have our Facebook page at facebook.arcaderepairtips.com. We also have our Twitter/X feed at twitter.arcaderepairtips.com. And, Tim, how often do we post on those social media pages?
Every single day.
Every single day. Every single day, which is always awesome. So if you are looking for arcade news delivered to you every single freaking day, then make sure that you sign up and follow us on either Facebook or Twitter/X. Again, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com or twitter.arcaderepairtips.com. And Tim, we post all sorts of stuff, but it's mostly arcade related. We try our best, and it's a great way to keep up with the latest arcade news. So, Tim, before we sign off here, we got a couple of things in the live chat to discuss. Joe says, I ride motorcycles, but I'd like to... but I think I'd pull over and figure out how to get it home if I saw an arcade game in the road. So I would think the same thing, my car is probably not quite big enough to hold a full-size arcade game, Tim, but I think I'll figure it out if I find one on the side of the road. So, Current Phonograph says, crazy show, guys. Thanks. Crazy. Is this one that crazy?
Well, a little bit.
I was a little bit.
Not too bad.
Yeah. And again, you guys send in questions, please. I mean, Tim, the last couple of months, I feel like I've been a little bit lean. So, send your questions in and we'd be happy to answer those on the live show. We love doing the live shows, of course, but we need questions to continue doing them. So if you want to, submit your questions at arcaderepairtips.com, we'd love to cover your question here on the show. Tim, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, we'll get into the live, the after show if you want to stick around.
So any teasers for the after show, Tim?
I'll talk a little bit about a trip. There's a show that I watched that I didn't get to you in time that I thought was really interesting on Netflix, a documentary. And we'll talk about that. We'll probably talk about some sports.
Is it Trust Me, the False Prophet?
I have seen that one.
Okay, that is one we were going to talk. I've watched most of it. I haven't seen all of it.
No, I'm talking about Should I Marry a Murderer?
Okay, I've seen that one too.
You've seen that one?
I've not seen it, but I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it on Netflix.
Okay,
So.
There's some really interesting. That was a good one. That was a really good one to watch. So we'll talk about some stuff we've been watching, and maybe something that you want to bring up. Of course, any extra questions that roll in at that time is fine. So stick around if you can. Yeah, so if you're watching this and this is your first time here in the live chat, if you wait about 5 minutes after we end the regular live show, we will go into the after show. And the after show is just like the regular live show, except no topic is off limits. We cover all sorts of stuff there. So we will continue to cover arcade-related stuff there. But we will also just talk movies, TV shows, investment, talk sports, all sorts of different things. So if you just want to come hang out with us for an hour, that's what the after show's for, right? Yeah. Me and Tim getting to hang out for an hour because, like I said, I haven't even talked to him much this month. We've Not much at all.
Busy. So it'll be a little catch up for us, and of course, you can hang out with us as well. So after show, Tim, I've seen a couple of things. I've been watching Daredevil So
Okay.
I've been watching The Boys. I was watching Invincible. Running Point, I finished up, which is the second season of that. Okay, we finished that. It's really good.
I really liked the first season.
Yeah, and the second season is good as well. Trust Me, The False Prophet, which is on Netflix. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about draft picks, NFL.
Oh, yeah.
NFL draft. We'll talk a little bit of UFL. We'll talk a little bit of NHL playoffs maybe. NBA, MLB is really the big thing right now. Baseball going on. So if you want to stay tuned and just hang out with us for an hour, just sit right where you are and we'll be right back if you're watching this on YouTube with the after show. But otherwise, if this is your off-ramp, we want to thank you guys for joining us for the show tonight. We especially want to thank Arcade Survival and Current Phonograph for the donations tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much. Give yourselves a hand. A round of applause for the entire live chat and all you guys being here tonight. Yeah, there you go. You're doing the...
round.
We were going to talk. This is what we used to do in the library.
Okay.
No, you can't clap in round of applause. Get it? It's really a jazz hand that just goes around. That's what it is. But anyway, round of applause for the live chat tonight. I want to thank you guys for being here and for being so active in the live chat. It was great to have all you guys here with us live tonight. We hope that you come back next month for the live show. We're going to be back in June on the first Thursday night of the month at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Tim, anything else?
No.
Okay, sounds good. So everybody, take care. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us. And if you will, stay tuned for the after show. If you're listening to this audio podcast, check out YouTube for it. But if you're here in the live chat watching us on YouTube, wait about 5 minutes and we'll be back with the after show and we'll talk more stuff. Otherwise, though, if this is your off-ramp, thanks for being here. We look forward to seeing you next month. And remember, here at Arcade Repair Tips, when you fix the game,
you play the game. Take
care, everybody, and we'll see you here in about 5 minutes for the after show, or we'll see you next month for the regular live show. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Arcade Repair Tips live show. All of our past episodes are available on our website at arcaderepairtips.com or on our YouTube page. This show is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult a professional before attempting to repair any coin-operated machines yourself. The preceding program is a Varcade Entertainment production.
And we're back with the after show for episode 111. Tim, I was looking at the live chat while we were gone. It says, Joe says the after show is the best part. And Arcade Survival says, agree. Wow. I agree, too. The after show is the best part. But, there's a lot of people, Tim, that don't always want to hear what we're talking about. Like, that's not arcade related. And so we want to give those people a chance to, if you don't want to talk about non-arcade related stuff, then go do your thing. It's like, and so some people just want the arcade stuff. They don't want to talk about the other stuff. Good with that.
Yeah. And all we're doing is catching up.
Exactly. It's just a hangout. We should call it the hangout instead of the after show, because that's what it is for me and Tim. So Seahorses All Night said, there's no topic off limits. Please tell me the story of the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. If I was better at my history, I would tell you that. But it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done it. I think we need to work on our spelling of Versailles as well. If I remember. Okay. But anyway, unfortunately, I cannot pontificate on that subject very much, right. So I think I'm going to leave that one right there. So, but
we didn't say it would be discussed. We just said no, it's not off limits.
That's right. It's not off limits. We could
prepare for next time.
Yeah, that's right. So I will prepare my dissertation on the Treaty of Versailles. Okay. But Tim, obviously we talked about how everything was going. So how was your April? Like, what all went on? Everything was good?
Man, where did it go? I don't know. It just came and left.
When we last left off, you had come to the movie theater to watch
that's right.
Super Mario Galaxy.
It was right after your birthday.
And we did the live show like right after that on Thursday.
We were kind of late.
We were 1 week late. 1 week late.
So
because
you were kind of short.
You had something that you were taking care of on the first Thursday. Right?
Yeah.
And so, we were 1 week late. So that's where we were.
I went with my daughter to be on the podcast.
Yes, that was it. And I think we talked about that on the show.
And that was pretty wild. We're not that sophisticated around here. That was a very highly, of course, when you have 3 million subscribers, right. And probably a little bit of monetization more than we get.
Oh, just a little bit, you think?
Yeah. So,
but here's the thing: is like
that was quite an experience.
What you guys are seeing here, that's the real. I try to tell my kids, I'm like, there's a difference between other YouTubers do and what we do. Right. I said what we do is real. Whatever everybody else says is fake. That's we're not here trying.
We're not doing clickbait.
Right. There's no clickbait. Yeah. There's no. We're just hanging out and answering questions. There's no. What I'm saying. And we're just talking.
I don't think we have quite the wide audience, but what's cool is we have a wide range of people that watch.
That's true.
From all over the world, and so we enjoy spending. And we have some that are really regular. Some are kind of missing tonight, but we have a lot of people that come every month, and it's kind of our chance to get to hang out with our friends.
Absolutely, which is why we like to do it. Yeah, for sure. And if we were doing it for money, like I said, we would have quit a long time ago. Right. Like I said, we should definitely reorganize into.
That's why I don't work on games anymore.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's definitely not worth it for the money, but it's fun just to hang out and to get to hang out with Tim, hang out with you guys, and just kind of have a good time. So after the podcast, after the live show, after the live show, what happened?
I went to Arkansas, and which I'll be going back because we hired a person, but they're just not trained yet. So trying to help keep that area up and going, have deadlines and things that are due. Got to hang out with my friend Steve. You heard me talk about Steve before. We went to a minor league baseball game.
Oh, it's always fun.
And so here's what was funny. So, we don't have a minor league team around here.
We used to.
Not like
we used
that we could regularly go to. Yeah. And he go anytime. And he actually does go quite a bit. So last time he had treated me and we went to an Arkansas basketball game.
Oh, nice.
And that was a big deal, right?
Yeah, that's big.
And packed and crazy. And it was right before the NCAA tournament, and they were really playing good. And so I thought, well, he treated me that. I'll treat him to this.
Yeah.
And then also my coworker Mike was there, and he had just passed his major test, which also relieved some work on my end because there's stuff that he couldn't do without that test. Now he can.
Nice.
So I wanted to celebrate. I said, I'll take both of you guys.
Yeah.
So I go up to the ticket counter and I said, what's the best seat you got? And she says, well, depends on what you call a good seat. And I said, well, how about third base line? She goes, got some on the front row? And I said, all right, we'll take them. Mm-hmm. And so I told her, and she said, okay, that'll be $33. And I went, I need 3 of them. And she goes, I know, it's $33. Yeah. They were $11 each. Again, big price difference in that and that. So we went and watched watch their AAA, the Royals AAA team plays there.
Okay.
And so a lot of these guys are really close to making the major leagues.
Yeah.
And the wind was blowing about 20 miles an hour.
Dang.
Okay, so what was happening was if you could hit the ball up in the air, it was going out.
Yeah.
They hit like 10 home runs.
Oh, my goodness.
They were just, and one guy, one of the best players that probably will get called up anytime, I can't remember his name. I mean, he hit one. It was 405 to center, and it was 50 feet, if not.
Got some wind carry.
Yeah, past that. So that was a long hit ball. So we got to see a lot of home runs. And just, and it's weird because my friend says he used to take his wife a lot. And she would get so depressed and mad and angry. And he'd be like, what's wrong? She goes, we're always losing. And he goes, you don't go to a minor league game to really see who cares who wins.
Right.
You want to watch and see the upcoming stars
of
the future. Exactly. Good pitching, good hitting, good base running, good coaching even, And so you're looking at all of that. Nobody cares about the score.
Right.
But she did. And she did not like it that every time she went, they would lose. And so she was like, I'm not going anymore. They frustrate me.
Yes.
And so, she's kind of a competitor. So that was kind of interesting. So we did get to do something fun while I was in Arkansas. A lot of times, and even like going to Tallahassee and stuff, I would love to be able to hang out with somebody. But, lately it has been working and then doing certain brands after 5 o'clock. So sometimes getting up at 7, not getting off to 7 or 8, I just eat and go to the hotel and go to sleep. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot else to do. But the weather was nice, and I look forward to being back up there. But my friend is going on vacation. So normally I get to hang out with him, but I think he may not leave till Wednesday, so maybe Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to actually be in his little bitty town of Gravette, Arkansas, and I'm actually going to be there at my last stop. So I'll get to see him, hang out, but I'm really looking forward to being in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and Tallahassee. So those are some upcoming places to go. I just wish my wife, being that she's out of school, a lot of times she could go with me, except for she has traded one job for to being a full-time grandmother.
Yep.
And so we are keeping Holly now basically 4 days a week. My daughter's off one. And so she's keeping her 4 days a week. And even on her off day, she was hanging out with my daughter and my granddaughter. So bless my wife's heart, she won't be able to travel with me. Not yet. And the baby's just starting to try to walk. We're getting really close. We're standing up and walking down the couch. We just haven't quite let go and trusted everything. So every night I've been auditing, getting in late, and then coming in and seeing my granddaughter. So life is good. I mean, just a good time, good stage of life to be in when, you get to go home. And she's always glad to see me. And she says, Pop! And always wants me to play with her and stuff. And I think she's going to be pretty skilled. She likes to play and put stuff together and figure stuff out. And she'll unscrew lids and screw them back on. And that's pretty good for a kid that can't walk, that can actually do those things. And she thinks she talks a lot, but it's more jibber jabber, but she shakes her head yes and no. So I can say, do you want down or you want up? No, yes. You ready to go to bed? Yes, I'm ready. And she's getting pretty good at brushing her teeth. So, we have it's a good stage in life to be in.
That's good.
But that just keeps me busy every day. I did do a few things around the house. I did, and I'll get you guys' opinion on this. Because my wife is no longer going to be working and drawing a salary, we'll be living off my salary plus her retirement check, which it's plenty of money, but it's not the money we're used to. There's not a little extra. So we're probably going to let the yard guy go, and I'm probably going this weekend to buy a lawnmower, and I'm really, really seriously considering getting an electric mower. And if any of you guys, I would like to hear any of you guys' opinion, because 3 or 4 years ago, I thought those things were just kind of crappy, and they didn't last long. I think Landon bought one off of Temu or something, and that thing won't stay charged 10 minutes. But I noticed the ones I'm looking at, they're getting a lot better reviews. And the fact that you don't have to put gas or put oil or nothing in it, my wife can just go and turn it on and start mowing. I think is a big plus.
The ones that I've seen recently have had really good reviews and have been really good. I've looked at a couple, and they've been. I mean, the ones that like the major brands seem to be pretty decent.
Yeah, that's what ones, and then they have and then they range from like $200 to $1,200.
Yep.
So it's like I think the one where I'm kind of looking at is in the middle, kind of like a $500.
Seahorses All Night says you should go gas.
Go gas. Okay. See, if it was me mowing all the time, I'm old school.
Go gas.
And I probably would, but her at the house, and I don't know. It just seems like it may be easier for her. She wants to mow. Yeah. Now I should say that, and I'm thinking it's more to me. It's always been kind of more my chore when I did do it, but she's like, "No, you're busy. You're working. You're out of town. I need to do it. If I can walk 3 or 4 miles a day, I can push a lawnmower." Yeah. I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. You probably could. And she wants to do it for the exercise, and she'll do a good job. Our yard guys about tore up every sprinkler and busted our fence the other day.
My goodness.
I spent that last Saturday. I think it was the last straw. It was kind of like, if we're going to have to repair the fence and replace sprinklers all the time, I think we'd just rather do it.
I'm with you.
And so I had to do some fence repair and do some other stuff. So just been doing some honeydew projects. What have you been up to?
So I think I mentioned that we let's see. Arcade Survival says gas prices are going down. Go gas.
Okay.
And then I'll see Horses All Night says he'll do it for a Donkey Kong cabinet.
Okay. You know what? I tell you what. I wish you lived near me. It's funny that you said that because I can remember a time when I have bartered for stuff like that before, and I had a young girl that was a teenager, and she begged me. She always wanted to come play my games, and she lived in the neighborhood. And I would say, "You can't just come over here and play games anytime you want." She could, but I made it out a big deal. And she says, "If I can bring my friends over and play games, I'll mow your grass." And I let her do it a couple times, and she did. She would bring some friends over, and they would play in the arcade. And
so the people at my church are already recruiting my son, who is now 8, to mow their lawns when he gets old enough.
Oh,
so I'm like, my son has not even started a lawn mowing business yet, but apparently already has customers. I don't know how that works.
Right.
So anyway, I mean, if you want to be on his list whenever he gets around to it,
I think you know my story. I wanted an Atari.
Yes.
And so I thought we were going to Sears to buy an Atari. And instead, we went to a place called Otasco. You don't see those very often. It's Oklahoma Tire and Supply Company, Otasco. And instead of going, Sears was next door. We walked into Otasco, and he bought a lawnmower. And he said, "You want a game? That's how you can get it." So he did not get me an Atari. He got me a lawnmower and some gas.
There you go.
And told me to good luck. And I earned my first. I was one of the first kids in my block to have an Atari, but I mowed a lot of grass to get that Atari. And I think when I got pretty close, he chipped in a little bit.
Yeah, there you
go.
For me, we I think I mentioned. So me and my wife celebrated our 20th anniversary 2 months early. So this will be 20 years of marriage for us. Tim was my best man, so so he knows how long it's been.
20 years ago, wow! I didn't know it's been that long. That is crazy.
So so me and my wife have officially known each other longer than we have not known each other. Like we're at that point in our lives where it's like we've actually known each other longer than we didn't know each other. So I
can't even imagine.
We haven't got away from the kids for an extended period of time, ever, for the most part. And so we went to Broken Bow. And had a good time. Did some trails and some.
I'll be driving through there on my way to Arkansas. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And I tell you, there's a trail that we took. It's Friends Trail's the name of it, and it goes right by the water. And there's all these waterfalls, and they put a seating bench that you have to climb up to. Right on top of the falls. Oh, nice. And so me and my wife saw him. We're like, we're going to that. And so we did that. And it's not a very big fall. I see it's about 10 feet, 15 feet tall. But you have a bench that's like right there on the side of it. And you look right down and you can see it. And it was awesome. So there's a lot of cool things. Really enjoyed that. We're getting ready for into school. My daughter got out on Tuesday. My son gets out here in a couple of weeks. And so just getting ready for all that stuff. We've got my wife is a children's minister, so we're doing VBS. Planning, and my wife is really big into mahjong, so she taught me how to play on our little excursion too. So we're trying to do some mahjong.
Oh, okay.
Our church friends, real close with our church friends.
Say, my mother-in-law plays with a group like once a month, and they're serious.
So our church crew plays it, and I always tease people. I'm like, when we're all old and our kids are all grown, that's all we're gonna do is play mahjong. But apparently, that's what we do. I'll play. It's not my thing. It's fun. I'll say that. Like, it's complicated though. It's very complicated. Like, it's pattern. It's like trying to figure out what pattern matches what tiles that you have. So there's like a list of patterns, and so you get like different tiles that mean different things, and you got to figure out, okay, I got 13 tiles. Which one of these patterns am I going to try to go for, basically?
Okay.
And so whoever gets their pattern first gets the mahjong, right? That's how it works. And so, it was it's complicated, but you can see how it's fun because it's very like you got to think a lot. Right. Like, in order to get it.
My wife says it's too much thinking.
It's a lot of thinking.
Right.
And so if you're the kind of person that's, that's good with that kind of stuff, it's really good. It's like, it's just very complicated. Mm-hmm. But it can be fun. I see the appeal, for sure. Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to keep playing it, maybe every so often, but mahjong's the thing. I got to do something when my kids, grow up and move out. I got to have some sort of game night with my old folks or whatever, So we're trying to get.
I told you we're still playing those Netflix games quite a bit, and we had some friends over the other day, and we were playing Pictionary on Netflix.
There you go.
And it was really fun.
There you go. Let's see. So that's, as far as what we've been doing, that's good. You mentioned minor league baseball, though. I did buy some tickets. I got the opportunity to buy some tickets for the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, man.
And so in September, I'm taking the kids and we're going to the Savannah Bananas. So I've never been to the game. We're up pretty high. Wow. But the tickets for that, like the most expensive ticket for the Savannah Bananas is $55.
Okay.
So it's not, that's the most expensive.
Getting a ticket.
Yes.
That's the hard part.
Because they have a lottery system.
Yeah,
right?
lottery.
And so I was on the very end of the lottery system, and so the best I could get was Upper Deck anyway. Mm-hmm. And it was $30 a piece.
Y'all are going to have so much fun.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go. They were at Kyle Field in College Station the other night. They had there were a ton. The whole place was full. I was like, golly, they filled that place out. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
Our tickets are to, of course, Little I Field, so where the Rangers play. And they'll be after the season's over. Mm-hmm. But, looking forward to the Savannah Bananas.
I saw them on ESPN the other day, and it was showing how every ball is in play.
Yep. Every ball.
Right. So a guy hits a foul ball, and they're running to get it, and they're tossing it back through the stands to get it back in there, and they throw him out at home. It was crazy, and they were like, the team was like, yeah.
And like they have a point system. Rules. It's a point system too. Mm-hmm. So like you can score 10 runs in an inning, but you only get 1 point for the inning.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Uh-huh. So like it doesn't matter how many runs you score, it's a point system. Mm-hmm. So whoever gets the most points in an inning just gets 1 point for that inning, basically. Mm-hmm. And so whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. So it's a little different. So you can really score a ton, but
it's so much fun though. Yeah. I've been wanting to go. I'm on the list too, but I haven't got it.
This is the first time I even got close, and so I was like, "Oh man, I finally got an opportunity." So, so it's in September, but looking forward to Savannah Bananas. So, let's talk some baseball. Texas Rangers are hanging in there, Tim. We're like hovering around that 500.
Yeah. 500. We just look awesome one week, and then the next week we look terrible.
It depends on who you're playing. We play the Yankees today. The Yankees are good. So, right,
I don't know. We're streaking.
Yeah,
crazy.
Look.
We are a 500 team.
Stay around 500.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the season, you rifle off that winning streak. You're in.
There we go. All right.
That's all you need. So that's what I'm hoping to have happen here. Tim, I don't know if you saw for the NBA, but Cooper Flagg won Rookie of the Year.
Well, he should have.
He should have. A guy that he can score 50 points in a game, Tim.
Right.
First teenager to do that ever. You know what I'm saying? Amazing. So, hopefully you're a Cooper Flagg fan. Now, somebody was complaining because they had a Cooper Flagg rookie card that they had sent off for grading. When they sent it off for grading, it was worth $1,000, but when it came back, it was only worth $400 because the value of the card went down while it was being graded.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a problem?
Well, it could happen.
You know this stuff probably more than I do. That's why I'm asking.
It's all relative. Yeah. It is what it is. It's just like stocks, you know?
So, that's kind of a problem. They're saying they need better turnaround is what they're saying on the grading. So,
right.
So I was really looking forward to the Stars going deep into the playoffs, and that didn't happen because the Minnesota Wild took us out. So congratulations to the Wild. That shouldn't have been a first-round matchup, in my opinion. I feel like that should have been later on, but it was, and the Wild was the better team. And so congratulations to them. And I don't know who I'm going to root for going forward. I'm trying to decide. I'm still watching. So, Tim, I've watched a couple UFL games, but just like bits and pieces. Haven't watched a whole one yet. They've got like a 3-2 record, something like that. So
Renegades.
the Renegades. Let's talk NFL draft. what do you think about Caleb Downs with the first pick for the Dallas Cowboys?
It was a good pick for Dallas. I was okay with that. If you've seen him play,
Ohio State, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's not just that. He is one of those players that, like they said, this is what somebody said about him. He could walk on any team and he would be a starter.
There you go.
That's a good thing to say.
Right.
No matter who else is in that position, he would be the starter.
For sure.
They're like, he could be the best safety in the NFL next year. And that's like, wow, that's so. And you don't really we haven't had that person in that position in years and years.
Sure.
So I mean, we've had a person, but not the defensive player like Michael Parsons of the safeties.
Sure.
You know, and so and it's all speculation and hype anyway. Right now, we probably did better in the lower drafts than we did in the upper drafts. But
now I have a friend who's diehard Ohio State. And he thinks that we just made the best pick in the world.
That's what, in fact, we were going to trade way up to get him earlier.
Yeah, but he dropped.
And he fell in our lap. Other teams needed other players.
Exactly.
But we actually almost traded to number 11 to get him. So he was almost a top 10 pick. We'll see. You know, everybody's great, you know, until you get out and play. You never know. Some people will surprise you and some people will disappoint you. But drafts are crazy. I don't get too excited about any draft.
Yeah.
I'm more watching the free agency and who we can pick up there and if we can keep everybody, that kind of stuff. And just, you know, your best player could get hurt. And so what difference does it make? You got to be healthy is the key, in my opinion.
Sure. So I think we'll wrap up sports there, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, Tim, sports-wise. So I want to switch to, before we get to movies and TV shows,
okay.
I want to switch to a topic we were talking about kind of when you first came in today. And that is that on X, there's been a lot of talk recently about like women saying that guys who play video games, it's a red flag and you shouldn't have relationships with them.
Right.
Okay. Now, obviously, video games are near and dear to our hearts. I mean,
right.
I've literally got a room full of arcade games here. And my son is playing the Nintendo Switch as we speak. Okay.
Right.
So, and I play the Switch. We play video games quite a bit as a family usually. But Tim, I think this topic, I don't know if it's gained a lot of traction just because it's like it's basically a woman. The ones that I've seen are this woman saying that that's like a red flag. You shouldn't date anybody who plays video games. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. Video games are like any other form of media to me. Mm-hmm. It's like movies, it's like books, anything else, okay? Mm-hmm. If you sit there and you watch a movie, you watch 2 movies and you're good with it, you're fine. If you sit there and read a book for a couple of hours, you're fine. If you sit there and play video games for a couple of hours, you're fine. But now if you start going over that, if I start watching movies until 4 a.m. in the morning,
when I got to work the next
day, that's a problem. If I stay up all night reading a book, okay, until 4 in the morning, and I got to wake up the next day for work, that's a problem. If I stay up all night playing video games till 4 a.m., that's a problem.
Right.
Okay, I will say that.
It's all balanced.
Right.
You got to have balance in your life.
It's moderation. Okay, you
right.
got to keep it in moderation. So, I think that's the key is that there are a lot of men out there that do play video games a lot. Okay.
Right.
And so, but here's the thing, as long as it is not keeping you away from the other things in your life that you should be doing, taking care of yourself, taking care of your house, your apartment, your living space, taking care of your job, as long as it's not keeping you from that kind of stuff, I think you're in the clear.
Right, or affecting relationships, and there are people that like to play with their significant other or whatever. I get it, just the balance. Like I said, it should not, nothing should work should not take over your life.
Right.
You got to have time off. You got to have, you shouldn't sleep all the time either. You should be rest, and then you should be doing stuff and should be spending time with your family. And if it interferes with any of those things to the extent that you can't do them, then it's a problem.
Now, I will say this, though. Video games nowadays are different than video games back then.
For sure.
Right? Like, you get a instant gratification and reward system in a lot of video games now that give you a really great kind of endorphin rush style feeling whenever you accomplish something in the video game. That's something that a lot of video games in the past did not have. Right? Okay. And so I think that some people get addicted to that kind of endorphin-filled feedback system, and then it becomes
and then you start paying $20 for the add-on and this, and then the next thing you know, you spend $800 or $1,000
on a game.
On a game, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, when you could have bought an arcade game.
Right. Exactly. And still be playing it.
Yeah, and still be playing it. So
I think we probably talk to a crowd that's like us, and we enjoy to work and play on them and relive those memories of our childhood and stuff. I think it's different. Some, like you say, and some people, just spending exorbitant amount of money just to level up or be the best. And yeah, I mean, if you pay enough money, you can be really good at a lot of games.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But even some of my games on my phone, it's like, man, 99 cents. And I'm like, it's just 99 cents.
Yep.
But then I look and I did that 8 times. And I think, man, I could have bought lunch and I still,
Chumba Casino?
Yeah. It's just.
We didn't, no paid endorsements here.
Right.
But I feel like whenever I listen to podcasts, I get a million things for Chumba Casino.
Right.
So, I've not played a second of it. Or, Candy Crush.
Right.
Like Candy Crush. I know people who have been addicted to Candy Crush and are spending a ton of money on Candy Crush. I'm like, golly, what is this? My kids like Roblox. I mean, I don't think they play. We obviously monitor how much they play, but they like Robux too. Like they'll want to spend their allowance on some Robux, and we're fine with that.
Right.
We monitor how much they play though, obviously, and we try to keep that under control so that they don't get out of hand, because they can get out of hand. Right. And I will say that I feel like the more that they're on the tablet, sometimes the more irritable they get. And so that's one of the other reasons.
But if you're a grown adult and you can't step away from it, you're literally that addicted. You really need to evaluate your life. You should be able to take breaks, to do other things, to enjoy other things. Like I said, I probably like to work on games as much as I like to play them.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of satisfaction in fixing something.
Sure.
That's just how I'm wired,
So let's, if you're in the live chat and you want to talk about this, let us know what you think is a healthy video game habit, I guess is the question. So, are you guys out there playing it a lot?
I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think if you got 4 kids, when you get home and your wife's been working or working with those kids all day, she needs you to take over or to help, in some ways. And if you just, want to go play video games and you're ignoring your kids, you're not doing, you're failing. And that's not the way to do it. Now, if you can spend some time with your kids, put them to bed, then relax. Also, spend time with your wife or significant other, and then you can play some games, or you need downtime too. I have no problem with that. It's just, it should not be your primary focus.
For sure. And another thing I do want to talk about is, if you're letting your kids play games, make sure they're age appropriate.
Right.
Tim, I've seen kids in like GameStops that I know are not 17 years old playing Call of Duty. Right. And it's like Call of Duty guys, like, let's let the adults play that, or at least the older teens. I feel like for little kids, and look, I don't necessarily think that violent video games make you violent, but I do think if you have a predisposition towards violence and you play violent video games, that could lead to some bad places. Does that make sense?
Maybe so.
What I'm saying? Like if you're already predisposed to violence and then you play violent video games, that could lead you down that road. Does that make sense?
You need to.
What I'm saying? It's not right. It is about balance. So no matter what, but I do think that like the younger kids should not be playing games that are rated over whatever their age group is.
Right.
We try to watch very closely what our kids play.
Let them be a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy kid stuff.
Yeah. So like if they're under the age of 13, they don't need to be playing Call of Duty for sure. Right. I'm sorry. It's like in most cases that's way too violent for them.
But I also don't need to be spending half the night playing Candyland or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Or Candy Crush. I'm an adult.
Right.
Right. I don't know about even Candyland. Something that I played as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I might play with my kids, but it shouldn't consume my life.
Yeah.
Unless you're getting paid for it, then you're doing something that's not that productive.
Exactly. And so I do think, like I said, there's a balance. Video games as a whole are not bad. That's what we should say. Video games as a whole, not bad. The abuse of video game where we're playing it just so often that we don't do anything else with our lives, that's bad.
Donuts aren't bad.
Yeah, donuts are not bad. But if all you eat are donuts, that's bad. Yeah, right. So, yes, exactly. So everything in moderation, right? Including video games. And so don't let video games take you away from the important things that you should be doing with your life, whether that is working or being with your family or being with your loved ones, being with friends. Like, play your video games and go out and do stuff. Don't stay up all night if you've got job stuff.
And guys, we should just preface this that we started this conversation before the live chat.
Yes.
Based on a couple that are literally going to probably end their marriage because the husband will not. It has become more important to him than having a family.
Yeah. And
that's
I had
just
family.
sad.
I've had a family member that was in the
That's just
same
sad.
boat, and had him and his wife had a real big sit down, and he came around and ended up giving it up because the game he was playing was so addictive and gave him such a rush of endorphins. That's all he wanted to do. And so he wasn't playing with his kids. He wasn't paying his wife any attention. And so they had to go to counseling and have a big sit down about that. And he ended up giving that up and not doing it anymore, basically going cold turkey.
There should be a balance. You should be able to do both. But it's just like, for me, I can have 2 beers and put them up. Somebody else can take 1 thimble full of beer and drink a 30-pack.
Yes.
So that is a problem for them.
Yes.
And so, I would just tell everybody, examine your own self. And it doesn't have to be video games. It could be your work. It could be whatever. Anything. Maybe it's watching TV or whatever. What are you doing in your life that's causing an imbalance? And even my own life, mine might even tend to be work, because I feel like I need to make as much money as I can while I still can.
Sure.
I
will say this. I catch myself doing this, and I'm probably more guilty of this than gaming. Being on my phone in the presence of my kids.
Ooh, yeah.
I hate that.
Right.
I try not to do that. I'm guilty of it.
Have you went to a restaurant lately and just watched, and you're sitting there and you're eating your meal, you just look around and see how many people are not talking at all, they're on their phones.
Yes.
And I'm like, why would you, other than getting some good food out of it, you're on a date or you're just on a night out, can you not put your phone down for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and just talk to somebody? So I feel like
my kids, when we go out to a restaurant, we don't bring tablets. We don't bring phones.
Good.
Like, I bring my phone, but it's like we don't take them out at the table, right? And
or how many parents do you see their kids acting up and they give them here, so you'll be quiet?
Also, I've seen people like
and I'm not judging it. Sometimes my granddaughter could be squealing and hollering, and I'm like, please, we're going to turn on the TV, try something,
But like, we have specific times for tablet time, and we have specific times for family time. It's like when we're eating, that's family time. We're going to sit, we're going to be a family together. But when they're after their baths and after they've done all their homework, they know before bed they get their tablet time, right? Like that's their tablet time for the day, and they get that, and then when it's time to go to bed, it goes up, right? So I think you have to, like I said, there's a balance in it, just like with anything. But we need to be mindful of how much we're on our phones, how much we're on playing, and maybe that's playing games, maybe that's just doom scrolling, like most of us like to do on
watching
social
YouTube,
media or whatever.
TikToks, whatever.
The only thing
I
you need
like
to do,
watching videos, just learning stuff.
Yeah. The only thing you need to do is just go to Arcade Repair Tips Facebook page, look at the 1 post per day, and then you're on your phone, you're good. Yeah. So there we go. Let's see. Joe says, I've hacked all my handhelds and I still play the same 80s NES games that I've always played. Yeah, for sure. Encore MPW says, stay single and do whatever you want, Tim. That is true.
That is an option.
Except for your job. You still have to go to work.
Right.
So you still need to be careful.
It is a good way to stay single.
Yes. A good way to stay single.
If that's your goal, it's a good way.
Yeah, because it does. There are obviously a portion of women out there that are not attracted to people who play video games at all.
But even then, even if you're single, you should still. What are you doing? Exercise? We got to take care of ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. Take care of yourself.
Take
care of your place, whatever. If your house, your apartment. Take care of. Even if you're single, you got family. So make sure you're communicating with your family, your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, whatever family that you have. And your friends. Make sure you're maintaining relationships. That's key. So maintaining relationships is hard. So I've got a rule now. Like there are certain people, and Tim knows some of the people I'm talking about. I try to have lunch with, or at least visit with every 6 months, because otherwise I won't. We don't run the same circles.
Right.
And the people in my church I see like every week. But like Matt and Brandon, which are 2 of my friends that Tim knows really well, I just make a lunch appointment with them every 6 months because I don't see them on the regular. We don't go to church together or anything like that. And so like maintaining relationships is hard. It doesn't matter if that's a man and woman relationship, or if that's a friendship relationship, or if that's a family relationship. It takes work. And so make sure that you're maintaining your friendships too, along with playing the video.
So we're ending that conversation.
Maybe play video games with your friends. That's okay.
Exactly. Put
that headset on.
We were in this discussion, and that's where we'll end it. But and we'll talk about some movies and stuff we're watching. I really need to wrap up probably about 10 minutes.
I think I need to
get home.
Somebody did say, Tim, your daughter has a podcast. That was Joe.
Yes.
She
was on a podcast.
Yeah, and we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
She's on a podcast.
On a famous podcast.
Arcade Survival says he wanted to talk about property taxes. They suck. Done.
It's ownwell.com. Own.
I don't do Ownwell.
Man, Ownwell's awesome.
Okay, like I feel like I would end up the same way either way.
No.
So if I have a question about my property taxes, I send it over to
Now, I have done it before.
Okay, I send it over to my realtor.
Right.
And she will send me back whether or not I should challenge or not.
Okay.
So I already have kind of a built-in, I guess, and she doesn't charge me anything. She's been doing it. I've been doing it since we've lived here.
All right.
So, but I'll send it to her and I'll say, "What do you think?" Because she'll send me comps and say, "I think you shouldn't challenge." That's what she'll tell me. And then if she says I should challenge, I've got the comps in my hand. And then I make the appointment with the tax assessor's office and say, "Hey, I think you're too high on my value. Here are the comps that I found." Like, I challenge it myself.
Okay.
Because you can do it on the phone. You don't even have to go there.
Right.
It's a phone call.
Oh,
and they
I
put
didn't
you
know.
on. Yeah, it's a phone
like
call.
You used to have to go and sit in front of them like a committee.
No. It's a phone call. They put you on the phone and you talk to the tax assessor and you tell them everything and that's it.
But yeah.
So you don't even have to go in person anymore. So.
It's getting ridiculous. And we just voted no to a bond.
Yes.
Probably more than likely because people are tired of paying any more taxes. It's like,
Agreed.
I don't think it's only $84 more a year. And I'm like, I know, I don't want to pay a dime more a year.
Exactly.
I want to pay less than I did last year.
With this last tax evaluation, did your value go up, down, or stay?
Mine has went up every year for the last 5 years.
Okay.
But I have fought it and got it way back down.
The last 2 years,
rate.
my value
Mine's
has
close.
either it's pretty much stayed the same.
Really? See, mine is...
So we're okay. But we've gained over the last 10 years. I mean, boom, right? Like, yeah.
Mine's $105,000 higher in 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Over the last 5 to 10 years, it's gone up a lot. Last 2 years, though, it's steady for me.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
which is I mean,
so then you don't have to worry
exactly.
about it.
I haven't had to challenge anything, so it's pretty much the same. But no, people talk about Texas and no income tax. I think that we get screwed.
We make
worse.
plenty of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in Louisiana, I
worse.
paid income tax, and my property tax on 10 acres of land and a house was about $300 a year.
Golly.
Yeah, that was 30 years, 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. A long time.
But it was $300 for the whole year.
Yep.
That was it. And that was a house and 10 acres.
Yep. So property taxes are rough, and especially where we are. And I send my kids to private school. I think I mentioned that, and I still pay the local school taxes, which I think is a travesty. I think people who send their kids to private school should be able to opt out of the local school taxes.
Yeah.
Should be able, like homestead.
Right.
If all I need to do is take an enrollment form up to the tax assessor's office and say, "Here's my kid's enrollment for the next year." Take the local taxes off my thing. The local ISD taxes.
Let's hit shows before I gotta go.
Okay.
Let's talk about the ones we did together. You watched Trust Me, the
I watched like 75% of it.
Okay, you
I haven't seen the whole end, but
that's kind of an interesting documentary, isn't it?
I mean, it's basically who's the dude that ran the FLDS organization? I forget the guy's name. You know it if you heard it because he was famous.
Went to jail.
Yeah, he went to jail and everything. So basically, another
basic name.
Yeah, I mean he's really famous, but basically
Jeffries.
Yes,
Warren
Jeffries or something like that. So basically, another guy in their little commune says that he's like the reincarnation of Jeffries, and that he's gonna, or is it Jeffers, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
And that he is now the new prophet.
Right.
And everybody believes him, and that's basically what it is. Nobody challenges him. It's just like, okay, I'm the new prophet now, guys.
Give me money.
Give me all your wives and your money, and that was basically it. So, but it's fascinating because the lady who does the documentary
infiltrates them.
Is very she grew up LDS and she knows the culture, and so she's trying to get information to give to the police, right? Like, because she's pretty sure that he's having relationships with underage women, but they got to be able to prove that. And my relations with underage women. So they have to be able to prove that. And so, like, she's basically doing a faux documentary in order to get information about that.
So the other documentary I watched was called... I
was going to say, would you recommend that one or not?
Yeah.
I'd recommend it. Yeah, Trust Me, The False Prophet, you should watch. Okay.
And I watched Should I Marry a Murderer?
Right. Now, is this a series?
It is a 3-part documentary. Okay. And they're pretty long. It's shot in Scotland, so you have to get used to that kind of
that Scottish accent.
or that really rough Scottish accent. I don't know. I like it, but it kind of wears on you for a little bit, and then you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. So this lady, she is about to marry this guy she's engaged to, and he admits to her that he killed somebody. But it wasn't like he sought to kill somebody. He hit them with his car.
Oh.
Okay? And
So,
on a bike.
Vehicular manslaughter?
Yeah, it was vehicular manslaughter. But
that's not what they call it.
What do you do if you hit somebody with your car? You call the police, right? But he had been drinking and he was scared, and so basically he buries the guy way out in property where nobody would ever.
Oh my goodness!
Nobody in the world would ever find him, right?
Okay.
And they couldn't find him. Nobody knew what happened to this guy. They're looking for him. What happened? And he tells her right before he gets married, and so then she has to decide. I love this guy, and he's a really nice guy, and he did kind of make a mistake. But if I turn him in, it's not going to bring that guy back. It was an accident. But if I turn him in, he's going to be in trouble now because he didn't go to the police.
Right.
And I won't get to marry him anyway. And she's like, what do I do? It's kind of her personal dilemma and of what should she do? Like the right thing. And she's thinking, I know the right thing is to turn him in, but I love him also.
Right. And
she goes, but then some facts come out that really help her decision. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
Was it actual accident, and stuff like that. So I'll leave it at that. Watch it. It's really good.
Okay,
we watched 3 episodes. We watched 2.5 the first night. Just wanted to see it. And until we were tired. Until we were sleepy. Couldn't stay awake. And then we couldn't wait till the next day to watch the last half.
Agreed. Okay. We'll have to watch it. Let's see. On my Netflix, I had Running Point season 2.
Yeah.
Just as good as season 1. Highly recommend it. Need to watch it. I finished up Invincible, the latest season, and it was amazing. You should watch the latest season of Invincible on Prime Video. If you like Batman the Animated Series kind of stuff, very similar to that. Very well done. The Boys is on Prime Video right now, last season, Tim. So if you want to finish that up, I love the Boys. It's crazy. Just crazy superhero stuff, worth your watch. And then the season finale for Daredevil Born Again was last night. Watch that. It was good. So people have really been kind of down on it, but I thought they did a really good job. So Daredevil Born Again season 2 and season 1 are available on Disney Plus. Watch those. Movie-wise, Tim, we watched GOAT by Sony Pictures.
Oh, okay.
It is a cartoon.
Yeah.
And the kids, wanted to see it. It's really good. It's way better than what I thought it would be when we initially heard about it. I thought it was going to be pretty terrible, but it actually is a really good movie. It's got a lot of heart. It is a inspirational sports story. Is that a good way to say it? So, if it's kind of a kid's version of like Remember the Titans or something like that, where it's about this goat who wants to play rollerball, which is like basketball, but all the people who play all of the animals that play rollerball are big, and he's a goat. Okay. So you get it. So that's kind of where we're going with that. So good stuff, but I do recommend GOAT as well. And you can get that on demand. It'll probably be on Netflix or something at some point. So, but Running Point we finished while we were on vacation.
I'm watching that now.
Yeah,
That's
you should watch it. It's really good. It's got Kate Hudson in it.
Tonight.
Right, Kate Hudson in it. She does really good, and all the acting it's ridiculously funny.
Yes.
So you should watch it and check it out. A couple of things in the live chat before we go, Tim. Seahorses All Night says, I'm living tax-free in an X-Men 6-player cabinet. I really do think that you could use that as a house. It's so
I think you could.
Joe says, taxes on income, gas, property, 401k, etc. When is enough? Can we dump some tea in a harbor or something?
Yeah, right.
So I remember when we saw J.C. Watts. And J.C. Watts had this whole speech about how, you wake up in the morning, you take a shower, there's a water tax. They tax your water. You get out of bed, they taxed your bed when you bought it. And then you turn on the TV and they tax your cable. And then, and then when you think all these taxes are enough for you to die, guess what? There's a death tax. So I always thought he did that well. I don't know even what happened to J.C. Watts.
I don't know.
But anyway, you're exactly right. I feel like we're being taxed left and right around here. So, anyway, it is what it is, guys. So we got to pay them. That's what we got to do. So good luck paying your taxes. Hopefully you've all filed your taxes. That's something you should have done between this one and the last one. I did and ended up owing money as always. So, it is what it is. But anyway, guys, thanks for having us tonight. thanks for being here. We just appreciate it so much. You guys were awesome. Look forward to seeing you guys in June for the next live show. And Tim should be here on first Thursday of the month, right?
Should be.
Sounds good. I know he's all over the place.
Let's
Where in the world is
change.
Tim? If you're looking for him, let us know. So
Right.
you may even see him where you live. So anyway, guys, take care. Have a good night. We'll see you next month.
Bye,
Peace
everybody.
out. Bye.